This week,
we review director Drew Hancock's new horror comedy flick, Companion, and director Sean Baker's Oscar-nominated film, Anora.
we analyze the outlook for streaming giant Netflix in 2025.
And we break down the greatest trailers to ever release in the history of the universe. Ever. According to Tiny Buttman, ever between the timeline of February 4th and 5th of 2025, ever.
My name is Simon Eady.
And I'm Adrian Pinter. Welcome to Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. I'm an extra from Anora, episode 103.
Why is he trailing off?
Okay.
Did he fall down a well?
103.
I don't think that's punchy enough. Welcome to Split Focus, a film and TV podcast, episode 103. Adrian Pinter, it is time. It is time for episode 103, I believe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, man. You look like you can't hear me.
You were just a little bit quiet. I feel like
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not like we just spent time testing this before we started to record the podcast, you know?
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah.
No, you're right. You were just a little quiet, and then like my reverb thing where I hear myself is loud. And I don't think it was like that big of a difference last time.
Oh.
But you just told me prior is that you reduced your volume.
I did.
So it makes sense. I'm just louder in my own head.
Okay, well that's nice. I'm sure this is a real interesting conversation.
Good way to start, man.
For people listening to the podcast. But how was your last 2 weeks? This is a podcast that happens every 2 weeks on Tuesdays specifically. So I mean, you've had 2 weeks to do stuff, to enjoy yourself, to do fun things potentially.
Oh, I was enjoying myself.
I hope so. Why'd you say that so weird and ominously? Come on.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. No. My last 2 weeks were good, man. I've been doing a lot of packing. I'm mostly packed up. I'm getting packed. So we're getting keys on Monday. So the day before this podcast goes live. Wow. And then it's gonna be an exciting time, man. I'm very excited. Gonna do the actual moving on the Thursday. I think we touched on this last time. So
yeah. You're almost a homeowner. It's incredible. It's exciting.
I went to the lawyer's office today and gave them the checks. So now it's official.
Oh, wow.
They have to cash them.
Even crazier.
Pretty crazy.
Step by step. Yeah,
it's a lot of work. We watched a movie together. You and your fiance were there, and we, as we do, we leave the movie theater, stand outside, and one of us begins a conversation, and then we realize we're cold, and we walk back inside the movie theater. So
the Canadian cold. It was quite cold. I think it was like -11, and we were having a full-on, really in deep conversation about life and adulthood and buying a house and what that all means. It's not the best time to have a conversation, considering we came outside from the warmth of the theater lobby, which we could have just stood inside and talked inside, which would have been more efficient. But
it definitely, it would have been significantly more efficient. But yeah. So, I vented to you about the trials and tribulations that I had to go through for the final moments of getting the home and stuff. But hey, man. Finish line's there. We're excited. What's new with you, man? What's new with you? You tell me what's up.
Honestly, not much is new. This was a very busy week and everything felt compact. I bought Kingdom Come Deliverance, the video game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which came out on February 4th for PS5 and PC and various other platforms. And so I purchased that game and then I never played it. I just never played it. I just couldn't. I had no time. And so I've just been really working hard, I guess, or I don't know. Yeah. I literally drove home and then I had to drive back to the store I was working at I was doing a presentation at a retail store, and I had to drive all the way back because I left my bag there like an idiot. I felt so stupid. It's just that's such a waste of time. It was a 45-minute drive. I had to drive all the way back to that store to make sure I had my bag for Monday. Anyway, it's not ideal. This was not a great day, but now we're recording. We usually record this on Saturdays or Sundays. We're recording it on Friday. So it's all everything I'm doing is all compact in a tight space, which is okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a relaxing weekend theoretically. Actually, no, I won't. Now I'm just thinking about all the things I have to do. It is what it is. It is what it is. But what separates man from machine, Adrian, is that machines cannot think for themselves. Also, they're made of metal, whereas man is made of skin.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. Why do I know that reference?
I feel like wait, you don't? Oh. I thought you... Take a guess. Where's that from?
I don't know. Is that on... Is it... I actually don't know. I want to say instinctively High on Life, but I don't know if that's correct.
That's a Rickanism, Adrian. Rickanism.
Oh my God. Yeah, from Severance. My apologies.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines in season 1, and it catches you so off guard because of the way it's edited. Mm-hmm. This is like a Rickon, for the audience members who don't know, although you should go and watch Apple TV Plus's Severance because it's excellent. Especially the first season. I don't know how the second season is going to turn out. I'm like, this is an interesting season. I'm liking it, but I'm curious, like, what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I haven't watched episode 4 yet. I didn't watch today's episode.
Episode 4 is something else, I must say. It is very interesting. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm surprised you haven't seen it. I just watched it over dinner.
I wasn't like me and my fiance watched the show together, and we haven't really been together much today other than lawyer's office stuff, like adult stuff.
Right.
And she's having a girls' night right now with her old coworkers.
Cool.
So we're having a boys' night, baby. Me and you popping bottles, getting getting crazy boys' night. Simon and Adrian boys' night. Yeah. But I've yet to watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow, most likely. But I do have things to do tomorrow.
Episode 4 is shocking in many ways. I'm just curious where they're going to go with it by the end of the season. I felt like I had more trust in Dan Erickson and Ben Stiller in season 1, like the creator and the director. I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure where they're going to go with this. It's strange. It's been 3 years almost since the season 1 premiered. And I'm just curious what they can do to end this season and where they will even go in a third season. I was reading recently that Dan Erickson said that he's planned out, he knows what the ending would be like in this show, which is a great sign, by the way, for any TV series, I must say. When you have anything, a movie series or a TV series that the creator doesn't seem to know where things are going, J.J. Abrams. Yeah, J.J. Abrams and Star Wars is a great example. Lost actually fell into this trap because they were kind of forced to continue their series past the season 3 that they had planned.
Yeah.
But anyway...
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but doesn't Vince Gilligan not necessarily know where a story's going to go? He just writes and lets the story take him?
Does he do it completely, though, or does he have an idea? I think I read that too. I'm not sure. That's a great question. That maybe I don't know. Maybe
Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, for those uninitiated. This has
so far been many tangents. Let me get back to the Rickanisms. Anyway, Rickon writes a book in the show Severance. He's the brother-in-law to Adam Scott's character, the main character of the series, and he's a quirky guy. And he's very entertaining. He's a funny that is some of the best comedy in that show, I find.
I agree.
But there's one moment where I don't know if somebody's reading the book or whatever, but they're imagining Rickon speaking the lines in the book, and the way that line I just delivered was delivered by Rickon, and then the way it's edited inside that delivery is great. It's great. It's great. It's good. Anyway, great show.
I love it.
Great show.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke of the movie we went to go see. I just want to talk about something about the Cineplex because we were standing outside the Cineplex. I feel like this is a good tangent. I feel like to go on.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the tickets this time. You were very generous. You've been buying the tickets for the last few movies we've seen, and we usually trade off. I buy tickets, you buy tickets, and we kind of go from there. I just haven't bought tickets in a while. I don't know. We just haven't seen as many movies, I guess, together. But regardless of that, I bought the tickets. Cineplex. I didn't think I knew this. First of all, the app is great. I think this is the best iteration of the Cineplex app and the overall purchasing experience that I've ever seen from Cineplex, which is our big theater chain in Canada. I think that they've just done a great job. I think it's awesome. I think the app it's just a great user interface. The way things are animated is great. It seems to work really well. I used to complain about Cineplex all the time. That was a joke. I think with me and my brother even. We used to joke about how hard it was to purchase tickets online. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal. They advertised for years that you need to buy tickets online. It's so good. It's great. Buy tickets online, they said. But now, Adrian, we talked about this on the podcast, I think, previously in the first 100 episodes. But I don't know if I noticed this thing. There's a $0 booking fee if you go into the theater and buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. But they convinced everyone and had an advertisement in the beginning of every movie that they ever launched in these theaters that you should buy tickets online. And there was no booking fee online before, and there was no booking fee in store either. Mm-hmm. But I thought the idea was so that they can have less employees. Like they were trying to make sure that they cut their employees. But they're basically just making it so that there's a $1.50 booking fee for every person you buy a ticket for. Every ticket you buy, there's a $1.50 booking fee. Mm-hmm. But not if you go inside the store and buy it. That makes no sense.
Are you not a Cineclub member? Because they waive it if you're a Cineclub member.
I know. Okay. Look, I'm talking for the common man, Adrian.
Oh, for the common man. For those that aren't, as high class as us that have the Cineclub membership.
Cineclub is a great deal. I'm not trying to promote Cineclub here, okay?
It's $10
because I feel
month.
like this is a dastardly scheme. This is some kind of hoodwinking, some kind of swindler situation here.
Yeah, Swindler's List.
I don't know if that reference works. Yeah. But hey. Oh, actually, speaking of Swindler's List, this is a really bad segue. But you made, I don't know if it was because of the joke you made about like Ken's Corner last week.
Yeah.
That's a really bad segue, as you can tell from that. Yeah. The way I just said it. Anyway, if you want to know what the joke was, go back and listen to episode 102 of Split Focus, a Film and TV podcast. But anyways, Ken's Corner was going to be a segment that I thought would happen weekly because Kenneth Stadelbauer had written into almost every episode of Split Focus, a Film and TV podcast. Guess who didn't write in this week after we asked him questions?
Your brother.
Now, to be fair.
Oh, sorry, what? Ken. No, sorry, Ken.
What did you say?
Your brother.
You might... No. He also didn't write in. No one wrote in because there's no write-in segment of the show. But I made a segment for Ken because I thought it would be cool. But then we asked him specific questions on episode 102 and he never wrote in again. Anyway, I thought that was...
Oh, no, he wrote in. I'll take it away. Hey, it's Ken over here. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I don't remember the question. So ask it again and I'll write it next week. Ask it again and I'll write it next week. This is Ken. See you later. Yeah. So I just played that off my phone. Ken recorded that for us. So
Ken has an interesting accent that I don't recall, and it doesn't sound Canadian in any capacity. But anyway, maybe I don't remember what Ken sounds like.
He opened a bodega actually.
I was hoping to evolve the segment. I got to be honest with you, but now that Ken's not listening to the podcast, I can just say it freely. I was hoping to evolve the segment. I was hoping that I could have him record his voice on his phone and send it in, and I could intersplice it, and we could listen to it together live.
Yeah, like he just did mere moments ago.
Yeah, that was Ken, right? That's not. Wait, wasn't that your Christopher Walken impression? I'm so sorry.
No.
I think it was.
For one, I don't know why Ken's voice sounds like my Christopher Walken impression. Very different, but my Christopher Walken.
Actually, no, your Christopher Walken impression. Actually, Ken's voice that you just did there sounds more like Christopher Walken.
You keep on saying that I did Walken. There, but yeah, again,
right, yeah, it was a recording.
It was a recording. What was happening. But yeah. Hey, it's Christopher Walken closet here.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah,
excellent. All right. let's move
I'm
on
in
to the news.
Severance here, walking.
Right. Yes, indeed. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on the Cineplex thing? Did you tell me that? Do you have any? Do you care about that?
So selfishly, it doesn't impact me, so I don't care about it. However, you know, if I was, you know, just a regular old person, just a regular person without the Cine Club membership, yeah, the $1.50 fees, that's preposterous. It's stupid.
Okay.
It's silly. Like, because you're telling people. Again, you're not wrong. They did a big push, order online, yada, yada, yada. It's more convenient. But now it's like, oh, just because it's convenient, you got to pay $1.50 extra. I have friends that don't buy tickets online. They walk into the Cineplex, go to the concession, buy popcorn, and then buy their ticket there. And I haven't done that in a decade, dude. I straight up have not done that in probably a decade. I cannot remember the last time I've done something like that. But yeah, like it makes sense. It is absolutely preposterous that they do that. But at the end of the day, you know, if you are going to the movies a decent amount, definitely get Cineclub. Just do it. Yeah. $10 a month, one free ticket. You get a discounted ticket. I think 2 a month or some shit like that. Yeah. You get 20% off concessions, Simon. No online booking fee, Simon.
That's garbage, though. The online booking fee is just an added extra thing because they made Cineclub. I don't know. That's why I don't buy it. Anyway,
it's subtraction by addition.
Sorry to go back to that. I just felt like I didn't get a legitimate response from you. But the thing I was talking about, Ken, was you made a joke about the name of the segment, and then now Ken hasn't responded. And I was trying to blame you, actually. I don't know if you noticed that, but you also didn't respond to that. So I think it was your joke that turned him off, because I think Ken was like, what the heck? You're going to name my segment after some kind of Nazis? Basically is what you did. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yes.
What?
Ken's Corner. You added you said, should it be 3Ks and make it Ken's Cool Corner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very confused as to what 3Ks means. I'll be honest with you.
No.
I'm not familiar with any of that.
You're laughing right now. I see your smile.
I don't look at the news anymore.
Yeah, okay. The news? What does that have to do with the news? It's like you never read a history book.
I don't even know what history is, unfortunately.
Yeah, that explains a lot. All right, well, let's get into a few quick bites of film and TV industry news, Adrian. Let's start with. Actually, they're all going to be fun ones. I was going to say let's start with a fun one. This is a really fun one, I think. The Fantastic Four First Steps trailer aired on February 4th. What did you think of that? Whoa, good. I didn't even notice that. Good for you.
Yeah.
February 4th, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, dude. Wow. F4, dude.
F4. It's F4. February 4th. Wow. Yeah. I literally didn't notice that. Did you read that somewhere, or you just made the connection and I'm just stupid?
I literally just made the connection just now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't read that. I don't know how to read, dude. I
guess I did too, because you gave me the four. You gave me a little 4 fingers up on the screen because we're doing this video. But yeah, okay. Yeah. Cool, man. What did you think of the trailer?
I thought it was pretty all right. You know, like I like the tone. Again, I like the actors. I'm curious where it's going to go. It's interesting because it doesn't feel like an origin story, right? Like I feel we talked about it's just Iron Man, like the typical MCU origin story. It's a safe bet, consistently, good movies when they follow that formula. And this one, I mean, they're already Fantastic Four and about, right? It's a few years later. It seems like they'll probably have some flashbacks about how they
Can you tell
there.
That from the trailer? I feel like it could just be linear and the trailer is alinear. We don't know, do we?
You think they would show it like that? I don't know, maybe. You might be right.
To be fair, there's some interesting things in the trailer. It's intriguing because it seems to go back in time, but then it seems to go forward in time. There's like time jumps. There seems to be different time periods shown, at least in the production and costume design. So that's, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to pull it up right now while I talk to you. And so I can kind of get some even more perspective. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess they could have been already Fantastic Fouring about.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Because isn't there a kid? Doesn't Sue Storm like have her like son with her or some shit like that. Did I imagine that?
In the trailer?
Yeah, am I crazy? I swear to God, she had like a kid with her. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. But they even do when the thing was in Iraq, they say that, not verbatim. Oh, sorry, I'm playing that on. We just got copyright struck. We're dead.
Yeah,
they played
that tiny little audio.
Yeah,
that's that little sonic signature that's going to copyright strike us.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong about the time jumps now. Maybe I imagine that.
Yeah,
they actually look like they're.
He's eating spaghetti off his finger or something. There's a roboting about with him.
Wait, there's a shot of New York City. It looks like it's a modern New York City.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, remember when we all got the powers? That was back then when the thing wasn't rocks. That was back then when Johnny can get on fire." They talk about that.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's also John Malkovich in some role that I'm not aware of. He's getting out of the shadows and he looks old disheveled.
John Malkoviching about. Maybe there wasn't a kid. Why did I think she was with a kid at some point? There's no kid. I just zippity-zapped through it. I swear to God.
The cast is great. We knew about the cast obviously for a while, but it looks awesome. Like it's a great cast. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, the dude from Stranger Things.
Joseph Quinn.
Joseph Quinn, thank you very much. And Eben Moss Backrack. That's so great. From The Bear. And other things.
Mm-hmm.
I see that smile. I know what you watched.
Indeed.
I know what you watched. All right. Cool. Okay. Well, we're gonna get there soon.
Let's just skip the rest of the news. You want to just dive into it, baby? You want to just dive into it
right away?
No.
But wait. So, Fantastic Four trailer, yay or nay? Does it entice you? Are you super excited? Because to me, this is going to be the thing that's the jumping off point for the rest of this phase for Marvel. It's really to me, this is where it's going to really kick off into high gear to gear up for Avengers Doomsday. This is kind of the I think honestly, Captain Falcon, Brave New World. That's the name of it. The movie that's coming first.
Captain Falcon, Brave New Nest.
Right? Yeah. Captain Falcon bravely leaves the nest. Yeah. Anyway, but no, that movie is going to be, I think, is a really good. It could be the spark that kind of lights the flame that
Johnny
fantastic.
Flame. It lights the Johnny Flame. It's the light that
lights the Joseph Quinn Johnny Flame. So yeah, it could be that could be the case, but I feel like they need momentum, and I don't think they're going into this with a lot of momentum because Deadpool and Wolverine was so long ago. They're just so used to launching so many movies back to back to back in 1 year. 3 movies, it seems like a normal Marvel Cinematic Universe tendency, and yet last year was 1 movie and that's it. And then Agatha All Along, which was a great show, but I don't think everyone watched that. I think a lot of people watched Deadpool and Wolverine, so that was hyped up. But that kind of it felt very disjointed from the rest of the MCU. It felt like another Fox. It kind of felt like another Fox Deadpool movie in a way. Like there's connections, but they don't seem to relate to like pushing the rest of the universe forward, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I feel like Deadpool and Wolverine's closest tie into the MCU was the Loki TV show. Arguably. Like I feel like that's kind of the most.
Yeah. But Loki TV show isn't really tied into the MCU. It feels very disjointed. Did you finish season 2 of Loki? I can't remember.
No, we talked about that. I didn't finish it.
Like if you season 2 is amazing. It's great. I don't feel like it actually, I feel like it asks more questions than it answers in a weird way. It tries to answer questions about the actual plot line of Loki, but it doesn't answer questions about the MCU, if that makes any sense. And I feel like because obviously the TVA is in Deadpool and Wolverine, the time variance authority, as they say. I don't think that we got a lot of answers about the TVA. Like we didn't get anything extra. We kind of just got more questions. Is Wolverine going to be in the MCU? We don't really know. How is Deadpool connected? Is this the same sacred timeline? We don't really know that type of thing. I feel like those answers weren't given to us necessarily. But I don't know. Those aren't spoilers, right?
No, I don't think so. I feel like the TVA was in the trailers. So.
You need to know so, because otherwise I got to cut it out.
No, we're good, fine, right? Probably, maybe. Yeah.
TVA's in the trailer. We don't know a lot. There's not a lot that answers questions about the MCU. That's not a spoiler. If it's a spoiler, I take it out. I'm very strict on this. There's no spoilers. It's an anti-spoiler?
Yeah.
What is that even? What the heck
Because you're saying it doesn't solve much.
There's a lot in it, though. There's a lot of content. The movie's worth watching. It's actually kind of what Kevin Feige talks about. He talks about how these movies should stand on their own. They should be great on their own. That's kind of what it does, which is great. And it feeds from the MCU, but I think it feeds as much to it. Is my thing. Mm-hmm. It does feed to it. It just doesn't feed as much to it as like a, I don't know, Doctor Strange movie. I don't even know if Multiverse of Madness really does that. But
I was just going to say, I feel like Multiverse of Madness didn't do much at all, actually.
It also asks a lot of questions that don't get answered, especially in the end credit scene. I don't know what they're doing with these end credit scenes.
Oh, I got an eye. I got an eye on my forehead. But that eye doesn't matter because we just did another end credit scene without the eye.
Okay, again, careful in the spoilers. Is that a spoiler?
It's just an eye. It's just an eye on a forehead, dude.
Yeah, you're right. That'll actually probably get spoiled in another movie, in like the trailer. So that's not a spoiler. Okay, we got to be careful. We got to be more careful. I am promising that we're not spoiling this. We're not spoiling anything. The MCU is so weird and broad. It's like hard to not kind of touch on the little details that I think what you said is more of a spoiler than what I said earlier. That's all I'm going to say. Don't give me that face. Don't give me that look. Don't give me those little squinty eyes. Don't do that to me. Anyway, the next thing
Oh my God. That's oddly racist to you.
How is that racist?
Because I'm Asian.
You're not Asian at all. You have no lineage.
Oh my God.
From Asia.
Well,
don't do that.
Isn't the Hungarians, the Huns, way back in the day, Genghis Khan, isn't everyone a little Asian?
Then how can that be racist? Then
That's
everyone's
true,
got squinty eyes? Is that what you're... In fact, you're being racist for even commenting on this.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. That was a race comment. I apologize for that. I should take that back.
Okay. Now we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to the second little bit of news, the second really hyped trailer that came out this week. Mm-hmm. It's the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, Adrian, and I know you're excited about this. I sent this to you. I might have sent it to you twice. I might have sent it to you as an Instagram post, and maybe I just sent it to you as one post. I'm not sure. My girlfriend, my fiance, very excited about this as well.
Me too.
Very hyped. But,
I'm hyped.
What are your thoughts?
Dude, there's dinosaurs.
Guy.
There's dinosaurs in this movie that's coming out.
I hope so. It's called Jurassic World.
And they're like, hey, we're going to the island that they sent all the bad dinosaurs, the super dinos. That's what they say. And it's like, it's interesting because like the way they talk about it, I'm like, are the Jurassic animals not in the world? Like it almost feels like they're like, we're just not really going to talk about the last trilogy of movies. I'm sure they will kind of like dip their toes in, but this feels like a new kind of jumping off point, which I'm fine with. I don't really care. At the end of the day, like I've told you this many a times. Yeah, I want a good movie. I want the movie to be good, but I also just like the idea of dinosaurs killing people. I just like the thrilling adventure of that happening, and that's why ultimately Jurassic Park 3 is the worst of the movies because only like 2 people die. They like fake kill one guy.
That's all that matters.
And he comes back, and he's alive at the end of the movie. He's like, actually, I didn't die. I'm here. I got my redemption arc. Hey, but then they killed the 2 guys at the start of the movie. So there's like Jurassic Park 3 is the worst because it has the least deaths.
Okay.
So
I mean, I just want a good plot.
Yeah, there might be a good plot in this one. That's not I know it sounds absurd. But it genuinely is just not that important to me for the Jurassic Park movies. Jurassic Park, amazing, phenomenal film, amazing plot, really well done. It's beautiful. It's the best one by far, right? I would say Jurassic World is a close second, actually a really good plot, like set up well. The rest are kind of like, whatever, but at least it's just dinosaurs killing people. But again, Jurassic Park 3, not that great of a plot and not that many dinosaurs killing people. So it's just it's the weakest of the bunch, I would say. But again, I think this trailer looks good. I think it looks pretty damn good. They got some ocean dinosaurs in it. They got some not ocean dinosaurs in it. They got Scarlett Johansson going like, "Oh my God, there's dinosaurs." They got the long necks with the big tails waving about. It looks good, man. It looks good.
Mahershala Ali's in it. That's
I
exciting.
heard of him. I heard of that guy. I heard that he's starring as Blade in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I heard that's his next movie.
No, I don't know about the next one.
I heard
But
it's his next.
it's sometime down the line in the next 20 years at least.
It's his
maybe not.
next big movie, dude.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Also, I feel like maybe it's just me. I thought that the other lead in the movie, I thought it was Dan Stevens. I don't know why I thought that.
Stevens?
It's
Maybe
clearly
because
not Dan
of
Stevens. It's Jonathan Bailey. It's just another white guy with similar hair, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe it's
I
because
don't know.
Dan Stevens was in Godzilla vs. Kong.
No, but I saw him in the photo and I thought it was him. I don't know why I did. I don't know why. It's Jonathan Bailey from Bridgerton. I just didn't know. I don't know why. I must have looked at him and just like, whoa, it's Dan. I don't know. I'm not sure why I thought that.
Yeah, I never watched Bridgerton.
I'm not super familiar with Jonathan Bailey just in general.
I'm looking at his stuff. I haven't seen a single thing he's in.
Right.
So I'm not.
This could be a big role for him. It's a big franchise.
Yeah, I mean, Bridgerton's huge, though, to be fair. So I don't know how prominent of a character he is in Bridgerton. He's also in Wicked. Yeah. So.
But there's still that idea that, like, a big movie like this is a huge block. I feel like it's a huge deal. A blockbuster like this versus Bridgerton. A lot of people watch Bridgerton, but it's also a different audience in some way. Potentially, there's overlap, obviously, but you know what I mean.
I think there's huge overlap between Bridgerton and Jurassic
You're right.
Park.
My fiance Dawn loves both.
Oh,
she
that's
loves
crazy.
Both. So
yeah,
it works. She likes the Jurassic World Park universe, and she really likes Bridgerton, from my understanding. So
maybe this is a crossover, a secret crossover. Bridgerton cross dinosaurs. You know, random aside, but this just kind of reminded me of. Remember the movie Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, where it was essentially just like Pride and Prejudice, but then it was like a zombies movie.
Yeah, I never
remember about that.
Did you see that?
No, but I always wanted to watch it because I don't really care for period pieces. I don't really like the Victorian hoity-toity. They don't talk like that. I don't know why I did that as an example, but they're like, British, we can't touch hands here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then that one was like, we can't touch hands, but they're zombies, so we kill them. And I was always curious about watching it. It just seemed like a dumb, fun movie.
Okay.
Anyways, they should do that with Bridgerton and have a Bridgerton cross Jurassic World.
Weren't they going to do a Jurassic Park movie mixed with like
Fast and Furious? I remember them talking about that, but I don't know if that was just like random things Vin Diesel said, just people spouting things online, if that was legitimate.
Imagine if that had happened.
Yeah.
that would have been I don't know. Although Fast and Furious is so ridiculous, and so is Jurassic World in some ways. Just not as ridiculous as Fast and Furious. I feel like Fast and Furious, despite that might sound crazy to think dinosaurs roaming the earth is somehow less crazy than Fast and Furious, but Fast and Furious plays fast and loose with the facts of physics. You know, they don't really follow science very much. That's like an issue that they seem to. They launch a car out of a window and it somehow lands across like a sky-rise building, and it somehow lands across the street on another high-rise building. Or they take a car to the moon or something. Didn't they do that or something like that? I don't know. I don't know.
I've never watched. I've only seen the first two movies, and then Tokyo Drift.
Right.
Tokyo.
Really?
Drift.
Oh, you've watched very little of them. I didn't remember that. You must.
Yeah, I
have
only
said
watched
that
the first. I recently watched the first two actually within the last like couple years.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
then I watched
4 of them, maybe. I don't know. They're just not. I don't know. They're not my thing.
Huh. Yeah.
I've seen Fast 5. That one I saw in theaters. I think it's the only one I saw in theaters. Fast 5.
Damn.
They also have the worst naming structure in the history of movies. But anyway.
Because like I just remember F9.
F9. Yeah.
F9.
Right. There's no. It's just F9. Why? I don't know. Oh, it's good stuff. All right. Well, yeah, I'm semi excited for this. I'm definitely going to see this, not on day one, but probably in the first week. I'm talking about Jurassic World Rebirth, not the next fantastic. What is it? Fantastic. No, not fantastic. The next Fast and Furious. They both have F starting of their names. Anyway, not Fantastic Four, but yeah, I haven't seen episode 25 of Fast and Furious, so I'm not really caught up with it. I don't think I'll see that in theaters, but I will see Jurassic World in theaters because my girlfriend, no way, we're not going to go see that immediately.
What about me? You know, I would gonna watch it.
You'd be interested.
Why you gotta talk about your girlfriend? What about your fiance? Are you not going to bring your fiance? You're just going to ditch your fiance for your girlfriend, Simon?
That's
Is that what
whatever.
You're do?
Fiance feels too. Speaking of hoity-toity, it feels too like there's something about it. It seems pretentious, doesn't it?
My partner.
I don't like that term, fiance. That's why I'm doing that. By the way, okay. I'm not having an affair, Adrian. Thanks for implying that on the podcast.
No worries, dude. No worries.
But anyway, yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to another news story that has happened. This is a small news story, although the original news story that it stems from is less small because two different publications, The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, reported that they reported in roughly late 2024. Mm-hmm. They suggested that actor Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, and Johnny, is it Johnny Flame? No, it isn't. Johnny, what is his name?
Is it Johnny Storm?
I think it is, but then I'm thinking, is that an X-Men thing? Johnny Storm is his name? Really?
I don't know, dude.
I gotta look this up. We can't be some.
Because he says flame on. He goes like, flame on.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean his name is Johnny Flame and he just says his last name.
Johnny Flame on, dude.
Yeah, I walk out. I just leave my front door, get onto my porch, and I say, "Edie on," like a weirdo.
Yeah, dude.
No, I think you're right. I think it is Johnny Storm.
It's Johnny.
It is.
It is
right.
Johnny
Human
Storm.
Torch.
Jonathan Lowell
Johnny
Spencer.
Storm.
Johnny Storm.
Right. Okay. What was I saying? Anyway, he plays Johnny Storm, obviously, in the original Fantastic Four movies, and then he plays Chris Evans. He plays Captain America, Steve Rogers. But anyway, they suggested the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline both suggested that he was going to be in Avengers: Doomsday. They said it was. They heard from sources specifically, and honestly, the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline are usually pretty correct. So it seems to me that would be likely that that's true if they're saying that. But Chris Evans says that this always happens. I mean, it happens every couple years, ever since Endgame. I've just stopped responding to it. Yeah, no, happily retired. End quote. That's what he said.
This sounds like the same quote Andrew Garfield said like 2 weeks ago about coming back as Spider-Man. Like
though, it seems like a complete lie. Also because he was literally, this is not the story that the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline were reporting on was not. Oh,
now that's a spoiler. Now that's a spoiler.
Damn it! Well, I gotta take that footnote. Anyway, it seems unlikely that he's telling the truth. It just seems very unlikely. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're saying that Chris Evans is a liar. You're saying that Chris Evans is a dirty...
Professionally, yeah, he sure is a liar. That is literally his job.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
Maybe.
By the way, I'm not cutting that piece out. I just spoiled something, and there was a beep. Okay, because I think that's easier. Because then I think you were talking over it, so it's gonna mess it up. So I don't want. I'm not cutting it. This is a loosey goosey podcast, Adrian. I used to cut it and chop it and move things around, and I used to make it so clean. Now it's not clean. This is the least clean podcast on the air.
I think this is the cleanest podcast, honestly.
Especially the way we started. This podcast went from we went 3 different topics and we jumped between them and we kept going back to the other topics we started with. What kind of start of a podcast is this? This is probably the worst start we've had in a long time. And we just started this after 2 years of recording episode 100. So it's a little. This
just also reminded me, even the order of these quick bites. You should have just done Fantastic Four leading into this MCU. Now we're doing an MCU sandwich with Jurassic World. We're eating dinosaurs. Dinosaurs is the protein in this MCU bread sandwich.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't agree. Get over yourself, okay?
Yeah.
I write the podcast. Back off. All right, shit. Adrian. It's really time. It's really time to look at what we're watching this week. And you were really hyped to talk about something a little earlier, about 28 minutes ago. So you go first. What things have you watched this week? We watched one thing together. We're going to get to that last, I think, because that's the kind of the joint review, as we typically do. But let's do it. What is the things? What are the things that you've been watching this week? Tell me.
Hell yeah, baby! Bachelorette is back. We're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. I did watch the first 2 episodes. This they're setting up a villain early in this arc of the Bachelorette.
Villain.
Let me just say they're setting up the villain. There's always a villain every season where they're like, oh, this is the bad person. Anyway, it's not important. I'm not going to waste time talking about that. But Simon,
reality TV, reality. I'm doing air quotes. Reality TV. I don't know why I'm speaking like Dracula to do that, but anyway, yeah, that's super reality to set up a villain. Come on.
Yeah, they're a villain, man.
Just like the drama. You want the drama.
I love the drama.
Sensationalist
drama.
Nonsense.
Whack me in the face with your drama is what I always say. Anyways,
Why does it seem sexual in some way? I don't like this. Know. Move on.
I guess that's 2 things that you thought were sexual.
What was the other thing?
I don't remember. There's something early on in the episode.
I don't think there was.
All right. If there is, you got to edit that exact clip in this part. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you do the extra. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't you dare give me extra work. Anyway.
But yeah, Simon, you want me to get into it? You want me to get into it? Because you recommended something to me.
I did.
You actually made 2 recommendations. You recommended 2 things technically, but one was
I didn't.
You recommended generally. You just generally recommended a product.
Look, I actually have something to say about that. That's actually a great point that you brought up here. That's a good point. Okay. Mm-hmm. I am officially, not just on this podcast, but in general, I am looking to only recommend one thing maximum. And that's maximum. I might not even recommend anything to anybody, but recommend one thing maximum to watch or play, an entertainment property in general, across the board, based on what I think the person would like. And if there's somebody's like just broadly like, what TV is good or whatever, I'll be like, I'll say what I like, but I'll also probably say, well, you might not like it. I like it anyway. But for the people I know, like you, or Dawn, my fiance, or my brother as an example, he's a great example. I've recommended too many things to my brother over the years, and he just gets so exhausted. His eyes glaze over, and he's just not listening to me at all. Not listening to me at all. Although I did recommend to him the thing I recommended to you, but I also recommended an onslaught of things that there was no way for him to get to. But I am actually making this a life rule for me. I'm just going to only recommend one thing maximum to the people I know, because I realize how exhausting it is. I just understand that. I know it from people recommending things to me. It becomes a bit exhausting. I'm welcoming it. You can recommend lots of things to me, but I'm going to try to do that from now on. Like a thing that it's from the heart. Like I think I know that people will like it. Now you're going to say, I don't like the thing you recommended, but I'll leave it to you. You're going to tell me now if you like it or not. I don't know how many episodes you've watched of this thing that I recommended.
Of this
I only recommended one thing, by the way. One thing. Don't
you technically recommended it. You recommended High on Life, the video game High on Life.
I didn't recommend it to you. I recommended it near you.
Yeah, fair enough. Touche. You just a near recommendation. But yeah, I have been playing High on Life. You're right. I would like that. Yeah, it is my type of humor. It's silly. It's stupid. It's a good palate cleanser. I'm enjoying it. But again, we're not talking about video games here. We're talking about movies and television, Simon. And you recommended a TV show to me in a franchise that I've arguably, I don't want to say fallen out of love with, but just not been as heavily invested in quite some time. Right. It's on Disney Plus, and one of the reasons why I didn't watch the show that I'm building suspense for now by taking a long way to say the name of the show.
What could it be?
It is because Disney Plus wasn't working. It stopped working on my television, and then randomly I opened Disney Plus and it was on my phone. I'm like, oh, I'm still logged in on my phone. What a coincidence! And I was like, I wonder if I can cast on my TV and it will work. So I cast it on my TV, but then it was all choppy. It was all fucked. It was all like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, okay, my TV's old. Like the Wi-Fi chip probably not good. I don't know. Wasn't streaming properly. So I was like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. So I was like, I'm going to try it actually. Maybe I can log it on my Fire Stick because I have a Fire Stick plugged into my television. And I was like, maybe it's going to work with this, even though last time, I don't think I was ever logged in on the Fire Stick. It was my PlayStation. Or I tried logging in on PlayStation, wasn't working. Anyways, long story short, logged in on my Fire Stick. Story. Because it's your account that you let me borrow. And it worked. I was able to log in. to watch the series that you recommended to me that begins with the letter A and ends with the letter R and has NDO in the middle. It's Andor, Simon. It's the Star Wars television series Andor. I build up suspense so good. I built up suspense the best, man.
Hopefully, what you didn't think you were building it up for me, because I recommended it to you, so I feel like it's obvious. Imagine it was a different thing. Like it starts with an A and ends with an R, and it was R.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's not on Netflix, Disney Plus. Sorry. Anyway, what did you think of it? Let's get to the point.
Know?
Yes,
I want to tell you. This might be recency bias, Simon, because I fall into the trap of being recency biased about things I watched recently.
Well, how many episodes have you watched, first of all, before you...
All goddamn 12 episodes, Simon. I've binge-watched the shit of this. I finished the entire series of Andor, and this show is fucking great. This show is so good, man.
Yeah.
What took me so long? Why didn't I watch this?
I don't know.
I was so burnt by Rise of Skywalker, so uninterested in things coming and going. And to be fair... I think it was actually on this podcast we talked about. I was like, I don't care about Andor. I'm like, why the fuck do I care about this one character?
We actually got into like a mini fight.
Yeah,
personal lives.
Yeah,
because I think we were having a bad day on a different perspective, and then I just was trying to convince you that you were trying to say basically, and it's a fair argument that you were saying that there was a small universe syndrome, that they don't dive into stories that are not in the same kind of saga, because it kind of fits in the Skywalker saga. But you also didn't like the idea that it's a prequel and you know what's going to happen because you've seen Rogue One, because it's a prequel to Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I got that idea, but for me, I've always had this theory about the MCU or anything that it doesn't matter where the story takes place. The Star Wars universe is huge, and there's so many planets and so many characters you can just introduce. But the point is that you really just got to tell a cohesive story, and it doesn't matter where it takes place in any way. So you can make an MCU movie. It would be the MCU genre movie, and it would be good potentially. That was my argument.
Yeah,
but we didn't see eye to eye on this in a way that was we got too personal for no reason.
Yeah,
and it was a dark part of our podcast.
Yeah, I was like, this is a spin-off of a spin-off. I don't give a shit about this. I don't want to know about this. Like, just give me something different and new. Like, I want something fresh. Yeah. And that was my mentality. And again, I think Rise of Skywalker burned me so bad. I was out. And I think I watched Obi-Wan, which I think came out after this.
No.
Did Andor
was announced way before, because we got into that little kerfuffle because we were talking about the things that were coming, and that particular thing you didn't like, but you were interested in Kenobi. I think that actually might have been in the same episode potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah. You're right though. Rise of Skywalker is so poor, like such a bad movie, just generally, that I can see why someone might not want to watch any Star Wars ever again.
It's just the mentality that, like, as amazing as Andor is, and I'll get into why I think it's like genuinely amazing, and I would argue it is the best piece of Star Wars media. Period. Full stop.
Yeah, I think,
in my personal opinion, is that it leads up to that point. You know, it doesn't matter how amazing this is. It leads into Rise of Skywalker technically, in 40 years time, or however many years take place in between. So I kind of got to the point where I was just, lacking interest. However, very quickly was I proven wrong. The writing in this show is so phenomenal, to a point where a character can say one line of dialogue and it contextualizes every decision that character made up until that point. And it does it so brilliantly, and it adds depth to, specific characters that would say that thing. And I'm thinking of two specific moments in the series, but most notably at the end of episode 10 with Andy Serkis. He's an actor. He's in the show. And
what an amazing
performance.
There's so many amazing performances in this.
Yes.
In this show. It's crazy. And there's so many shocking performances and things that you don't expect, in characters and maybe actors that you never thought maybe would be in it in some capacity, but they show up and they just give the performance of their lives in some cases. It's just, it's really crazy. My reference to the show has always been just realized your name here is Tiny. It's Tiny Butt Man.
Yeah, I was wondering
why
when
did you name yourself that on Zencaster?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I have a tiny butt.
Andor to me is Star Wars for adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whereas Star Wars, as said by George Lucas, if I recall correctly, he said Star Wars is for kids, and he made it for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Andor is a show for adults. If you remove the Star Wars from Andor, it would still be an amazing show.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like, you could make it.
I agree with you. Like, I think if you remove, I think you would have to add a little bit more context. I think,
like, what science fiction universe is this? Perhaps
exactly.
What dystopian society? What is the regime that's taken over this galaxy or whatever? That's
exactly.
fair, but then that's by the way, the color they added there in terms of how this regime operates, and like, that's so awesome. It really adds so much to the Star Wars universe. You're right, when you think about it in the context of then it leads to Rise of Skywalker, it kind of sucks, but in comparison to Rise of Skywalker, it's like night and day in terms of the creative levels of what the show can be. Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder. Continue.
No, but like, I can't agree more with that, man. Like, it's so well done and well acted. And again, there's specific characters that show up that leave such an impact on you. And again, like Andy Serkis's character, most notably, like, he says one line of dialogue at the end of episode 10 that again recontextualizes this entire character's motivations and everything surrounding that arc of the show. That I literally was just like left in awe. Like, and there was multiple moments where I'm watching this show, and it's so funny. It's like, I know where Andor is going to go. There's so many other characters that aren't in the larger universe that I don't know what's going to happen.
Like, one specific guy is really cool, and he drives a really cool spaceship. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So,
very much so. And I mean, really there is like Mon Mothra or am I pronouncing her name wrong? Yeah. Okay.
That's correct, right?
Yeah, Mon Mothma. I think I said
Mothma. Mothra is the person
in Godzilla.
It's not a person. Mothma. It's a butterfly thing. So
yeah, and like her character's in it, and adding all the extra context with her is so cool and so phenomenal. And the coolest part about the show is, again, like, it shows you like behind the curtain of how the Empire operates. And it gets to this point of like, how does this Empire actually operate properly? Why are there so many people that are, in this fascist regime that's running, and that seems so comically evil in all of the other pieces of content that you take in, and you realize that a shit ton of the people that work in the Empire, a lot of these Imperial soldiers, are just regular people that are in this situation.
Delivers this crazy context. It's awesome. It humanizes them, I guess.
Very much so. And the thing that I think this show does brilliantly is it dehumanizes the rebels in a way. Not necessarily dehumanizes. I don't think that's the right phrase.
In some ways. Yeah,
they make them, because the rebels are always, they're a beacon of hope. Like that's like Obi-Wan, you're our only hope. Like that's the premise of the original trilogy, and it makes the rebels seem like good people. And this show really highlights how the rebels aren't necessarily good people. There's a line of like, how many evil things are you allowed to do to make the greater good happen? And there are people that are working for the rebels. And again, there's multiple sects of the rebels, and they're not necessarily communicating properly, and they have different morals and, ideals of how far they should go in certain circumstances. And they're working
justify the means.
Exactly. And you're seeing again and again, even characters that we've seen in the larger universe make decisions that are so morally gray and awful, arguably. And it just adds so much depth to these characters. Again, to some of the characters that we have seen in future content. Again, there's not too many characters, so it's kind of a half spoiler, but not necessarily.
It also adds context to just the Rebels in general as an entity, which you just said too, like just generally, and the Empire. I feel like that what you said doesn't spoil anything, not from my perspective anyway.
Yeah, and it just really kind of goes to show, like what is the actual cost of freedom? Like, how far are you willing to go, and what are you willing to sacrifice? And I feel like that is the common thread throughout this entire first season is, what are you willing to sacrifice to get to a point? And you have someone like Andor, who's really just, he's a mercenary. He doesn't really care about the rebel cause, and he's kind of tied up in this, but he's surrounded by people that do care about the rebel cause. And obviously we see where that story eventually takes him, but to see him kind of flip-flop back and forth and see, how he's eventually going to become the character we see in Rogue One is so interesting. And again, I'll eat my humble pie, Simon. I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong when the show was announced.
I think one of the things you'd said too is you didn't like Cassian Andor as a character in Rogue One. That was one of the things. I think that's what I remember now too. Yeah. Which it's just complexity. They added this complexity to his character, which was great too, because he's an ensemble cast more so in the movie. Obviously, it's an ensemble cast in this too in some way. I mean, it is called Andor, so it does focus on him. But there's this idea that in that he kind of blurs into the background a little bit, so he becomes a little bit less interesting. But in this. You can become such a complex character based on the writing being so spot on and detailed. Even just like the fact that, think about the arcs in this, the different arcs. There's so many different types of TV shows in this one show about a science fiction Star Wars situation.
Yeah.
There's the beginning first 3 episodes is different from the next 3, and then it's different from the next 3. It's 9, right? It's 9 episodes in total.
12.
It's 12. And then there's another 3. I can't remember. I watched this a while ago.
Yeah, I feel like it's like 3, 3, 4, 2 is kind of how the arcs work.
Yeah. But that's crazy. A lot of shows don't do it like that. It just feels like they've just, like Tony Gilroy and his team thought of what they wanted to tell, and there's no fat. It doesn't feel like there's any fat. Like he just wanted to explain the story. There's also characters in that it's adult Star Wars, just like a Rogue One. There's this idea that characters are not, they get introduced and they go away, and it's like a real life situation. If you're a rebel in a rebel cause, or on the imperial side, they introduce characters that may not survive, and it's devastating in the way that they show off these characters, and they make you love the characters, and potentially they may not live like Rogue One. Yeah. It's just the beautiful thing about Rogue One as well, and they carried that into this show. And I don't know, it's really cool. And there's, again, the complexity in most of the characters. They're not just one dimensional a lot of the time. They feel like real people that are dealing with their own conflicted lives, and it's really cool. It's awesome. Yeah. The music, by the way, is really good too. I remember making notes about that when I had watched it. I maybe should watch it again before season 2, because it's been many years now. I think it's been 2 years or something like that.
3. It was 2022.
Is supposed to come this year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I'm glad they took their time. I hope it's as good as that first season, because it's so
me too.
Good, but yeah. Anything else? Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No. Like I do agree with you. The music's stellar. It really matches the tone. It really elevates certain moments and builds tension in a lot of moments. They know when to use silence. They know when to add a score. And even just, again, like adding additional points of like how the Empire even operates on the back end. And again, like it's so interesting because they blur the lines on who are the good guys and who are the bad guys in the greater thing. Because again, a lot of the people that work for the Empire just want order. Like they want justice. Like one of the main characters that you follow that's like an Imperial soldier is him literally being like, I need to track down a murderer because he killed some of my guys. And that's like his
misguided as the Empire is, they seem to want order. They find the good in their cause, I guess, despite it overall not necessarily being great.
Yeah.
But they can't see that. They're blinded by dogma, I guess, of it.
Yeah. And it's also like, I feel like a lot of the time when we see the Empire in movies and stuff, again, it is like that comically evil, like we're just going to blow shit up and murder a bunch of people. And in this show, it shows like, no, like they will do crazy psychological torment on people instead of actually hurting them. They will essentially ruin a planet's culture by just planting seeds into it, as opposed to just murdering all of them and just being like, well, they're going to stop following their like old culture because we're introducing them to new things. Like there's so many layers to the show, and every scene is just so engaging. Like again, like you mentioned, there's no fat, there's no fluff. Like I was ingrained, and it's, I feel like, I don't know, I have a shitty attention span these days, so I need the show to be really good to me to kind of be focused. Like I've been watching, I'm not going to really talk about this in detail, but like I was watching the Dexter prequel series that they released.
Oh yeah.
And it's just not good, man. Like it's just not that great. Like I don't need to be like focusing on it. I'm bored, you know, a lot of the time. And in this one, I finished an episode. I'm like, I can watch another. And then I watched the last 4 episodes today, like leading up to us recording. Wow. Partially because I wanted to talk about it and be able to like give like a concrete sort of explanation, but also because I wanted to know what the hell was going to happen next. Like it's so good.
Despite it being a prequel.
Despite it being a prequel.
You know, there was enough there that.
Yeah. The Dexter prequel though, not good. I don't like it. I don't think it's good.
In contrast, another prequel.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
So it is really good, and I am very glad I watched it. So you're now allowed to give me one more recommendation at any point.
Well, I'll time it. I got to think about it and then go from there. But I do remember distinctly, it was the composer Nicholas Bertel, and I was listening to the music from the show for like weeks after because I loved it so much. It just it hit me really hard. Like I loved it a lot. I love it a lot. I just haven't listened to it in a while. It's funny how things come and go, eh? Like trends in your life. You just jump into a video game or a movie and you just can't stop thinking about it for a few weeks, and then 2 years pass and you're like, oh yeah, I love that thing. It's interesting. But yeah, Nicholas Bertel did such a great job. It's such a good score. It's fantastic. I love that show. Man, I should watch it again, I think. I watched Severance again, as we talked about in either episode 101 or 102. I watched it on the plane. Oh, it must have been 102, but I watched it on the plane in the lead up to Severance season 2 because there's such a big gap between the seasons. And I feel like I probably should watch Andor again. But yeah. Okay, man. It's cool.
It's worth watching. It's cool. Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
Me too. I guess before I continue to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm
glad I was correct. See, that's the thing. That's why I'm cautious, by the way, about giving too many suggestions. Because once you dilute the suggestions with multiple suggestions, and then the person you gave the recommendation to now has multiple things to choose from, and they pick maybe the worst one, then they're like, that wasn't even that good. And then your opinion is suddenly not as valuable as it once was. And so that's why I specifically gave you that one suggestion, and I don't want to give you too many. But I'll bide my time, think about the next one, and then go from there.
Sounds good. It is funny though, because like independently, my pal Peter was also recommending me Andor. I don't think I mentioned this to you, but he was messaging me because he just recently watched it. And funnily enough, the other show that he recommended before that was Severance as well. Which, because he was like watching it, and I was like, oh, it's funny. Simon has recommended both of these shows to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I watched it. Fantastic. Highly recommended. I think if you are a existing Star Wars fan, you probably watch it. But if you are a lapsed Star Wars fan, this is a way to kind of pull you back into the universe and realize like, no, this is a great universe and there's some stellar stories to tell within it.
Yeah. It's a genre. That's the thing I keep saying. Star Wars is a genre. You can pick and choose what is interesting to you, but then potentially based on the properties that exist. Now they're not all good, as evidenced by Secret Invasion in the MCU. It's the same idea. Like MCU is a genre, Secret Invasion is horrible. So that's the idea. Andor is my favorite Star Wars thing, I think, too. And I think Empire Strikes Back, I said that a few episodes ago, that I think Empire Strikes Back kind of gets close potentially, because it's kind of where it started for me for the best of Star Wars. But I don't know. It's tricky because a lot of people just look at Star Wars as this bad thing and they don't want to give things a chance. But I find it annoying, and it's just a cynical view of anything, really. I don't really get this. Like, oh, I'm done with Star Wars. I used to be a fan, but I'm not a fan anymore because of The Last Jedi. I don't know. Like, okay, sure. Well, don't watch it, I guess. Stop talking about it then. That's my argument. But the number of times I talk to people who don't like Star Wars anymore, and like they complain about it.
It's because they have to let you know that they don't like it, right? It's just, I don't know. When I stopped watching, I was like,
why is that your personality, though? I don't understand.
Yeah, like when I stopped watching Star Wars, I'm like, I'm just not going to talk about it. Like, if it gets brought up,
it's not good enough.
It's like, oh.
Like, I used to be a Star Wars fan before anyone was a Star Wars fan, and I don't like it anymore. Like, stop.
When I was born, I came out when the movies came out. You're younger than me.
I came out of the womb and I was watching Star Wars, and
I was holding the Blu-ray set of all the movies out of the womb, and they didn't even get made yet. I was ready for it.
I was holding the 4K Blu-rays, and I wasn't holding the 4K Blu-rays that were edited by Lucas. I was holding the original ones.
Yeah.
The original trilogy, unedited. Han shot first, I tell you. Anyway,
yeah.
Why does this person sound like this?
I don't know.
What's going on with them? Anyway, but yeah, that's fair. It's just, that's an issue. It is an issue, and the fact of the matter is, the people who complain about it they complain about it, but they haven't seen Andor, and that's when I say to them instantly, "Well, have you seen Andor yet?" And they say, "No, I heard it's good." It's like, you just told me for like 20 minutes why Star Wars is bad, but you haven't even seen Andor because you're not willing to give it a chance, but you're willing to condemn the entire series of all TV shows and movies because it's bad now, according to you. Anyway, broad strokes, very annoying. No nuance, Adrian, as we've talked about previously on our show. But anyway, okay, cool. Do you want me to go next with my thing, or you want to go next with your thing?
Yeah, you know what? I got a couple other things to mention, but you go next. You tell me about something.
The next one is my favorite movie from 2024. And I hadn't watched it until this week. My speaking of girls' nights, my fiance went to see her friends, like drive like 3 hours away, and she hung out with them over the course of the Saturday, and she slept over there. And I had time. I'm like, what should I do? And so I watched a few movies. One of them I'm going to kind of glance over a little bit faster because I didn't like it as much, but it was still good. And that movie was Emilia Perez. That movie I watched. Like from the Netflix, I'll actually talk about this really briefly now. Actually, it's basically
before,
it's a Netflix.
Before you continue,
yeah,
so you're coming in. We're slightly positive. All I've heard is negativity about this movie. Like, it has an atrocious audience score. I've seen some clips of the music.
Rotten Tomatoes score. This isn't the movie that I'm saying I love, though. I'm just making it clear. But this is not my 2024.
You like it?
Sorry, is it good? Did I befuddle? Did I mess up the way did I confuse you in the way I described that?
Well,
anytime I hear
anytime I hear about Emilia Perez, it's just purely negative. Like, I haven't heard a single positive thing about it, anything online. So I'm just genuinely curious. Like, did you kind of like it? You think it's okay? Like,
I do think it's okay. It's a strange premise, though, I must say. It's not amazing. It's not the best movie at all that I've watched in 2024. It's a 73% of Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is very bad. It's 17% popcorn meter score. Not great at all. I thought it's incredibly interesting, and it takes huge swings, like huge risks. It's very interesting. It's about a cartel leader who has an operation. It's trans, basically.
Yeah.
And for the operation, they're basically also pretending that their past self is dead.
Oh.
And they're trying to get out of the game. And so what
Penis
happens
into
from
vagina.
there? Yeah,
that's I've seen that clip, and I'm like, this is not good. This is crazy. But again, it's something out of context.
So this is a musical, which is so wild. A musical about a cartel in Mexico. The actors are very interesting too. It's Zoe Saldana.
Selena Gomez.
It's Carla Sofia Garcon, which has so much controversy now surrounds her because of tweets she posted on Twitter, which honestly though, just forget about what you posted. She's great in the movie. She like her performance is really good, and Zoe Saldana is amazing. You know what's the craziest thing about this though? There's all this like talk about Selena Gomez. On one side, people are like, she's amazing. And on the other side, there's like, she's not good. Her Spanish is not doesn't sound like real Spanish. And then for me, I'm like, I don't really see either side. I don't really care. So Selena Gomez is probably the weakest part of the movie. Like in terms of like weakest in terms of forgettable. She's not weak at all. She's great, but she's not as good as Zoe Saldana at all. Like Zoe Saldana to me is honestly the main actor. She's the protagonist, which is weird because she's not nominated for Best Actress. She's nominated for Best Supporting Actress. But she's in it more than Sofia Garçon. And Carla Sofia Garçon, who plays, obviously, Emilia Perez, is the actor that's nominated for Best Actress. Which I thought was weird. I don't really... That I didn't understand. But regardless, they take big swings. Some of the songs felt weird. That song specifically caught me completely off guard because of the line you just said. It's in both Spanish and in English. And it just interchangeably moves between them. It's a very interesting movie, man. It's very interesting. Now, is it for everyone? Heck no. I guess that's why it's got a 17% popcorn meter score. But it's divisive. I don't know. On the context of it being art, if you're interested in like a different type of film that's not anything like you've seen before, or at least anything like I've seen before, it's pretty good. I liked it. I don't know. It's fascinating how this would be a musical that would work. That is what I'll say. But
so, you think it does work as a musical?
I think
it
so.
Does?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it works. I understand why it's nominated for Best Picture.
Like,
really? You say nobody. You saying nobody likes it. It's not true because it was nominated for Best Picture. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic, obviously. I'm saying that like everything I have heard about it was negative. Like I haven't heard a single positive thing. You are the first person to inform me of positivity about this flick.
It's
so
probably the most interesting, like, again, in terms of big swings and big risks taken, like Jacques Audiard, the director, crazy swings. Just crazy swings. It's cool. It's a cool movie, but again, I would definitely say not for everyone. And I completely understand why people wouldn't like it. But I mean, I don't know what you're going into expecting. It's a movie about a cartel that's a musical. And I don't know. It's such a, if I describe the plot to you again, as I did, I feel like it's not something that is going to appeal to everyone just on its own. Because have you ever seen a cartel themed musical that's really a drama? It's not really a comedy at all. It takes itself seriously. You know, it could be, if it was like a cartel musical comedy, then we're like, okay, I can kind of see where that would go, but because you can kind of take that serious topic and make it lighthearted maybe in some way, but it's not lighthearted. It's not really lighthearted at all. It's just not the theme of it. Anyway, I talked way longer on this than I intended. Anyway, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Okay. It's not bad in any way, in my opinion, but I definitely see why it's not for everyone. The movie that I did watch, though, as well, that same weekend, and this is a movie that I believe is my favorite movie of 2024, is Anora. It is so excellent.
I watched it. I watched it too.
You saw it too? What the heck? You didn't bring it up?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up once you passed it back to me.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah, so this works out. This is a surprise. What a surprise.
Yeah, I just think that it's just... it's excellent in every way. And this is something actually we're going to lead into because we're going to be talking about the movie Companion that we saw in theaters in the Cineplex that we referenced earlier. I find this does the opposite of that movie Companion in a lot of ways, in that this movie is incredibly detailed in every little fine little thing, every single tiny detail, but the characters, the costume design, the set design, every single tiny thing is exactly planned out and detailed. And Sean Baker seems to know what everything will be. There's even this idea that characters are speaking Russian in the movie. There's no subtitles. There's no planned subtitles. And you just somehow understand what they're saying. From my perspective, I understood what they were saying. I didn't need the subtitles.
I watched it with subtitles.
It wasn't that's not part of it. So you must have added it in. something.
Yeah, because it had the option, because there was so much stuff going on. I'm like, wait, what the fuck's happening? So I put on the subtitles. So that's actually something I wanted.
That's not. I watched it as a baseline movie based on what he wanted. I'm a very big fan, as you may know, of the director's intent. I don't love love Subway sandwiches. I prefer Jersey Mike's as an example. I want the sandwich to be as the executive chef demanded. And in this case, I want the color palette. I want the whatever it is that they wanted it to be. I want it whatever the sound system it should be. If I can get it as close as possible, I want it to hear it as they intended. I want to see it as they intended. I'm a fan of calibration and things like that. So in this case, I just watched it as I thought was intended, which was the Russian bits are in Russian and there's no subtitles, which I thought was a big swing. Speaking of big swings. And so I don't know. I think that Mikey Madison and Yura Borisov are incredible, and they both specifically deserve their Oscar nominations, and I think they probably will win. I don't know for sure because I haven't seen all the movies yet for the Oscar nominations, so maybe I should hold that comment, but I don't know. I think the devil's in the details, and I think that he got all the details right. It feels like a slice of life movie, and it shows I don't really give any context. It's about a sex worker, essentially. It's about a stripper who lives in New York. It's New York City, right? If I recall correctly.
I think so,
yeah. It has to be. Yeah, it's definitely New York City. And so she's working in New York City, and then she gets into a relationship with this a Russian 23-year-old, 22-year-old? 21. There you go. And this specific Russian kid is he's very immature, but he's also really rich. And it's what happens with really after that I think is the most interesting part of it and the most unexpected piece. What happens after they kind of start their relationship is very interesting. I couldn't believe where it went, actually.
I agree completely. I think this is one of those trailers that did this movie such a service, because I think it kind of brings you in and kind of shows you like, oh, it's like this young and reckless love story. And it is, but there is so much more depth to it than that. And
to speak on that too, the log line mentions right in the first line, it's a Cinderella story. Which is like, okay, is it? It's interesting the way it's described, but it's very, no, for sure. Yeah, go on. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, I just, where the story goes is brilliant, and it's so unique, and it's interesting because when I was watching this movie, and it's like we finished it, my fiance and I, who she really liked it as well, and again, this movie is like, it's a comedy. I would argue that this is kind of more a comedy, but it is also a very dark comedy. There's a lot of good dramatic moments, and there's a lot of sadness sprinkled throughout this film too. Just kind of the where Anora is as a person. Annie, she goes by Annie. You know, she's just like this typical sex worker or whatever, and then kind of gets swept off her feet and thrown into this situation where that, story goes is so good. But yeah, like, so the movie ended and it's like, oh, directed by Sean Baker. I'm like, why do I know that name? It's because you ever watch the movie The Florida Project? I think it came out like 2017. So I watched one of his movies before. Totally very different. Very different. Yeah. Not a similar style, stars Willem Dafoe and everything. But the one thing that I remember is when I watched The Florida Project, it was a very unique movie. I was like, I haven't seen anything like this, and this is really good, and I loved it. And this is another one of those movies where I've never seen anything like this, really. I've seen like a dark comedy, but like, again, just the premise and where the tale brings us is wholly unique. And I think Sean Baker, I haven't seen any of his other movies, really masters realistic reactions to situations. And it is very raw, I guess. And I know they talked about
that's a great word, to describe it. Yeah, really raw. I feel like you're there. It felt very immersive in the way it's told.
And I think they did talk about how they didn't have what are they called? I want to say compassion coaches, but that's not the thing. Intimacy coaches on set. I think they talked about how he didn't want to like bring intimacy coaches onto the set because he wanted things to seem very real and legitimate, like, and have the actors react legitimate, like in a way that they think they would.
Controversial, but sure. I think
it is very controversial, but I think it adds to the movie.
Maybe,
definitely controversial.
Maybe you can also just have an intimacy coach and also create the same effect and make everyone feel safe. But Mikey Madison specifically said she didn't feel unsafe, so I guess that's the key.
But again, very, very raw movie, and it's just so. It's cool that, again, we're in a Western audience, and we've been introduced to some actors that have not been in any American movies or Canadian movies really. Like I think this was what's his name? Is it Mark Eidelstein, who's a Russian actor? Like this was his first American movie, and he plays the young kid. I don't know if this Yuri Borisov has been in anything like in the Americas, but again, he was really good in it, and I can definitely see him kind of being put into a lot more movies going forward here.
There's just so much subtlety in his he doesn't say that many lines. No. I don't know. He's just such an interesting, and the way he's even introduced is just so natural. Every character that's introduced seems so natural. It just feels like it's crazy. It again, it just feels like you're there. It just feels very real, and there's very human reactions across the board. I don't know. It's very good. I also love the fact that, and this is something that should be that way in every movie, whether it be a blockbuster or whatever, is that the action is dictated by the plot, like very purely, like very specifically, and very like the action could be the sex scenes or the comedy or actually action in some ways. I feel like it is completely dictated by the plot. It felt all natural. It all made sense. There's never a scene out of place. This is like the most put together. We talked about, you remember Emerald Fennell's movie? What was that called?
Promising Young Woman.
Promising Young Woman. We talked about it in a way way back when we saw that at the same time, or we saw it and then we talked about it like on the podcast. We talked about how it felt like everything was exactly what she wanted. It was all exactly, everything seemed like it was precisely, there's no meddlers from like an executive team coming in and saying, hey, Sean Baker, you can't do this thing or you can't do that thing. Every single thing, even the smallest characters who are in it for 5 seconds, they feel substantial and they feel like real people. We talked about Wolfman last week and how all the people in that world kind of felt like they're just there to serve the plot, and they really you said they don't exist. They just exist for us, if I recall correctly. But this feels like you're just getting a snapshot of these individuals' lives. The characters all feel like they're there. There's just, again, the acting is so good too. Borisov's like acting, even, I don't want to talk too much about it because it was spoil the movie, but like the last scene like really got me. There's like this, that the way they end the movie is so crazy too. It's so interesting. It affected me for a few hours after. I was just like pacing around the house thinking about how beautifully it was made and how funny it was and how sad it was and how it made me cry and feel things. It is very great. I recommend this movie to everyone. It is a little bit sex scene heavy. I think that's not a spoiler. It is about a sex worker.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, it's great.
It is really great. What a nice surprise. We didn't even plan on that, Simon. We both just watched Anora. Look at us, me and you.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you rent it? How did you get it?
Yeah, rented it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I don't think it's on any streaming service.
No. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rented it.
Yeah. It's true.
You're asking the wrong guy, in other words, because I would have just used the streaming service then. But excellent. Again, I can't stress enough. This is for me. In my letterbox scores and all that stuff, I very rarely give anything a 5 out of 5. This for me is a 5 out of 5. I have like 23 movies in total that are 5 out of 5. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's crazy. So 23, but you've only seen 24 movies, if I recall.
They're all 5 out of 5, including Wolfman from last week.
No,
I talked so negatively about it, but
Wolfman was
I
the only movie.
Loved it.
that didn't get a 5 out of 5. 23 out of 24 movies you've watched are 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Man.
other than that,
Awesome.
I'll give a little snapshot of the other things I watched. I watched other TV shows. I watched Silo season 2.
Oh,
I've watched a few episodes of that. Very great show. Just as top tier as it was that I remember anyways for season 1. Love Silo. Rebecca Ferguson. Great. Just great show. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Apple TV Plus, killing it on the science fiction stuff. They just kill it. Science fiction show after science fiction show. They just do a great job. The other thing I watched actually is Invincible.
Dude, I forgot that it came out entirely.
That it existed. Yeah, season 3 is coming. Anyway,
it came out yesterday, dude, as of recording.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm watching season 2 of Invincible. I haven't caught up. I have not even watched season 2. So I'm catching up right now on season 2. I forgot. Sorry. Yeah, it did just come out. Yes.
You forgot to mention that on things that we're excited about in the next couple weeks. Because I totally forgot
you weren't excited about it.
I was.
No problem.
I was.
If you're not excited about it, it's fine. I thought you liked that show, but it's okay.
They didn't advertise it properly.
You look hurt.
They didn't advertise it, Simon. I love the Invincible. I read all the graphic novels of Invincible.
I know. You don't have to prove it to me, but you can prove it to the audience because they don't know you. Regardless of that, Invincible season 2, I'm liking it. It's very well reviewed, Invincible, just really well reviewed. I think it's like 100% for all of the seasons. It just came out, right? The season 3 just came out as yesterday. 100% again. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah. Did they drop the whole season this time?
I don't think so. No.
Last time I think
definitely not. Definitely not. And there's a reason for that. We're gonna get to that.
Oh,
they didn't.
Okay.
They didn't. I think they're doing week to week again. But lastly, I watched a couple episodes of Star Wars: Skeleton Crew. Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I should probably know the name of it if I watched it.
Skeleton Crew. So, sorry, Simon. Sorry to interrupt before you continue. They released the first 3 episodes of season 3.
The first 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's going to be 8. So I think it's like 3, and then they're going to just do week to week after. Just a quick heads up. Quick correction there.
Gotcha. Sweet. Thanks. Thank you for that.
So you watched Skeleton Crew, you say?
I watched 2 episodes of that. Very good. Very good. Crazy. We talked about...
I'm in a Star Wars mood. Do I start watching Skeleton Crew now? Don't recommend it to me, because then you can't recommend anything ever again. But I'm
not recommending it to you. I haven't seen the whole thing, so it's hard for me to do that. I've seen 2 episodes, so I'm not going to be crazy about it. I'm not crazy. Just let me finish it, and I'll let you know. It's been out for a while now. But Skeleton Crew, we talked about this before, but the directors are just wild. Like the Daniels directed it, and like various other, like David Lowery directed as well an episode. It is... David Lowery actually just directed did direct the episode I just watched, which is the second episode. The first episode, I must say, I was not really into it, weirdly. And then the second episode, I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. This is very interesting. I thought the second episode was quite good, like overall. And Star Wars is at its best in some ways when they're in the kids side of Star Wars, not the Andor adult side, I guess. When they really put detail in the set design and the production design, the costumes, and really put these little details into showing off the world in ways that, like, it's almost like a pan shot of just a bazaar, like a city or like a small marketplace. And you can just see all these little things happening, these different aliens and just wacky shit going on. That's kind of where I feel like it's at its best. Cause that's how I felt like when I watched the original Star Wars, just Star Wars. Episode 4, I guess they renamed it to. When I first watched that, they go to the cantina and you're just like, oh wow, this is like a lot of different aliens here. And there's just, you're thrown into the world, you're thrust into it, and you feel immersed in that world. That's what it felt like in episode 2. I am very intrigued. I've just been watching too many shows and movies at the same time, obviously watching Severance as well. And so I've just not been watching things at a normal pace. So as I get through it, I will keep you apprised of the situation.
Yeah. Our mutual friend Corey actually mentioned a similar thing, is that he I think he finished it and he said that it's really good, but he said the same thing, that he watched the first episode and he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this. And he just kept on watching it and he's like, it gets really good. He said that it was good. So
John Watts, like director of the new Spider-Man trilogy that just happened. I think he's got something here. think he's got something here. It's cool. It's really neat.
Something electric.
Something electric?
Yeah. His last name's Watts.
Oh, that was so obvious. I feel like such a dunce. All right.
Don't worry about it, man. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. Anything else you watch? Is that everything?
Yeah. I'll keep this one brief, but I did watch Creature Commandos. James Gunn's Creature Commandos. Did you watch it as well?
No. Okay. How did you watch it?
So I watched it on Stack TV.
So you pay for Stack TV?
No, free trial. I would never pay for Stack TV, Simon, because they have ads. It's $15 a month Canadian now, and there are ads. There's 3 ads in an episode, in a 20-minute episode. Fucking unreal, dude. I got the free trial.
So much.
I got the free trial, and I watched it all. But fuck Stack TV. Stack TV sucks.
You watched the whole thing?
I watched all 7 episodes.
Okay, how was it?
It's really good. It's really good. I mean, James Gunn knows how to make a ragtag group of bad people very enjoyable to watch. Like, again, he just understands how to make a gang of people play off each other very well, and you get attached to them. And similarly,
the misfit story of these like lovable non-heroes like that all come together and somehow defeat evil, even though they shouldn't
Guardians
really be doing that. Yeah,
the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad,
right.
Peacemaker, and now this, and it's really good and very interesting. And this is technically, it's interesting because this is, I think, tied to his like wider Superman, like where Superman universe is kicking it off. It's not the Superman universe.
It's tied up. All the actors are the same actors that were going to play the live action roles. That's what's so interesting about Creature Commandos. That's what by the way, wasn't going to play Invincible. Wasn't going to watch it. I was going to watch Creature Commandos, but I couldn't because it wasn't available.
Is it not on Crave? I thought it was going to be on Crave.
Oh, you don't have Crave?
No.
Is that why?
Yeah, my Crave's done now.
Well, go on. Is there anything else about Creature Commandos you want to point out before? I have a diatribe to go on about this.
Ultimately, it's really good. It's another one of his, when he talked about the Suicide Squad, don't get too attached. You can say the same thing about this show as well. There's a lot of characters that get introduced. He's not, worried about making some rash decisions to kind of break your heart. But very good. Awesome stuff. This is a cool kickoff point, but it's also very interesting because they reference the Suicide Squad. They reference things that happen in Peacemaker as well. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, it is cool, but at the same time, it's so confusing how all of this is kind of connected. I stand by the fact that the Flash and the Zack Snyder universe, the Flash, is canon in this new universe and what he did, and the Snyderverse is now stuck in a different universe, and then he created another universe, and somehow Peacemaker's now here, and all these other characters, the Suicide Squad, it's all here, and it's in this new universe. And yeah, I'm very excited to see these actors show up in the live action movies as well, because I'm sure some of them will show up all around. So
cool.
Yeah, really good. Highly recommend it. You would love this. It's clear. But yeah, anyways, take it away.
So here's the issue. I almost literally canceled Crave. I don't understand what Crave is doing. I don't know what Bell Media is doing specifically. Crave is terrible. Crave is the worst streaming service by far that I pay for, and it's getting worse in my opinion. Here's the issue. So I went to go watch Creature Commandos. I go in, I go on the service. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch Creature Commandos. Not there. Creature Commandos is specifically an HBO Max show, just Max for some reason. Terrible name. Regardless of that, Max has Creature Commandos on it. Crave never got Creature Commandos though. Crave is a Canadian streaming service audience. They're designed basically around really having Warner Brothers content, strangely, because they seem to have a deal, but with HBO specifically. So they typically have a mirror of the HBO content, except in worse quality. Crave doesn't support really anything except for 5.1 audio. They don't support Dolby Atmos or DTS. If you're interested in surround sound, like object-oriented surround sound, they don't. They just added 4K when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, and not everything is even in 4K. Funny.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous. But the worst thing about Crave, and I reiterate, I'll say this to the cows come home, Adrian, For some reason, I also that same day went to watch the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Okay? I go to watch that movie. I haven't seen it. It's a Michael Mann movie. Very, very popular. Very well regarded. So I go in to watch that. Heat starts playing in French, Adrian. Starts playing in French. And there's no way for me to get it to stop playing in French. There's no other option for languages. There's no English version. We live in Canada, right? A bilingual nation. That's fair, right? Mm-hmm. They only have the French version of Heat. That's it.
I ran into this situation. I can't remember what, but I ran into that exact situation because they only have the distribution rights for the French dub of certain movies or even TV shows.
How could that be?
I don't know. I don't know the logic behind it.
I think that's a mistake. I think they just didn't put both up. There's no way they have only the distribution. It's ridiculous. How could they only have the distribution rights for that one version of the movie?
I have no idea.
First of all, who is listening to the French dub? Who's listening to the French dub of Heat? That's the question I have to ask.
Probably French people. Probably people that speak French.
No. I am not discriminatory. I don't care about whether you speak French or English or what language you speak. It's irrelevant. No one should listen to dub. It doesn't make any sense. The movie is made by Michael Mann, an American man, right? He's an American guy. He is a famous director. He directed these people in English. He directed Robert De Niro, one of the greatest actors of our time. And somehow, you think that the French dub actor is going to be better? Who's thinking that? Just put subtitles on. There aren't even subtitles. You can't activate subtitles for this movie. It's absurd. Same thing. You know the movie Dream Scenario? Do you remember that movie? I watched that movie.
No, I didn't. That's the Nicolas Cage one? Where he's in everyone's dreams?
I just said you remember it and you said, no, I didn't. Is that the movie with Nicolas Cage where he's in everyone's dreams? So I think you do know what that movie is. But anyway, last year I tried to watch Dream Scenario. Pretty good movie. I liked it. I watched it, not on Crave. Turn it on Crave. It's in French. Couldn't watch it. They don't have the English version up. I was so close to canceling Crave. The only reason I didn't cancel Crave is because they have HBO's Last Week Tonight. If they remove that show, I'm out. I'm done. It's ridiculous. I actually lowered the tier. I paid for like the $23 a month tier or whatever, which includes
stars.
Whatever. No, it doesn't have ads. It doesn't have stars.
$23 a month is no ads?
The top tier one, it's the same price as almost HBO Max. That's what I'm saying. It's so expensive. It's so expensive.
I thought it was only $20. I just had it not long ago. To be fair, I bought. Sorry,
I'm estimating. If you're saying it's $20, that's still expensive.
Yeah. So I bought a year subscription when it was on sale, so that's why I don't have it anymore. I was just like, there's nothing coming out that I really care about. There was the traders, but whatever.
Yeah, it's $22 a month.
And that's crazy. Yeah. And they had I think a Black Friday or Boxing Day promo. And it was like get a year for, I think it was like $120. So I was like, okay, it's literally half off, $10 a month. So I think I picked that up, but I don't know, whatever.
Anyway, I was so close to canceling. I just didn't cancel because Last Week Tonight literally starts mid-month. It starts next week. So oh my God, are you kidding me? That really sucks.
Do you have VPN? Do you have VPN? I feel like Last Week Tonight airs on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube in the States. No? Am I crazy?
It's an HBO show.
I feel like I've watched some of it on YouTube before.
Yeah, it's an episode from like 4 years ago. Oh, okay. They want to hype it up, so you watch the actual show.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I believe you. I'm not an HBO Tonight last week.
Sorry, I'm worked up, okay? I'm worked up about Crave. I was so upset about the Creature Commandos thing really threw me off. And then when I tried to watch Heat, and you know what's crazy about it? I tried to watch Heat about 6 months ago, and I just ran out of time and I stopped watching it. It was in my Apple TV Plus up next. Not Apple TV Plus, but my Apple TV has like an up next feature where it shows me what's up next. And the neat thing about that feature is it pulls from all the various streaming services. So I was like, you know what? I got to finally get to Heat. Heat is in English in every capacity in the description and everything. Everything is in English. There's no notice of it being French at all in the entire thing. Until you start the movie, then it says tension instead of heat. The title comes up and it says tension. And then it says starring or something. It uses English words to describe the actors while it's showing you the initial credits. The worst thing as well, no one starts speaking in Heat for like the first like 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh.
It's doing like this long, slow, like following people through like getting off a train and stuff like that. That's how the movie
Let's put it at
starts.
2 times speed next time.
So I could figure out whether it's in French or I could just
Yeah.
cancel the service.
You should.
I was so close again. I can't believe that they do this. It really is annoying. I like, if anyone from Crave, no one's even listening to this podcast at all. But if anyone from Crave is listening to this podcast, fix your shit. By the way, that's how I know that it was not supposed to be in French, is because the description is in English. There's no way that's supposed to be like that. No, they made a mistake. They clearly made a mistake, and no one should watch a movie in French dub. It doesn't make any sense if it's made by an American team, because you're missing the nuance in the actors and the direction. Do you not agree with that? Come on.
No, I agree completely. You're
looking at me like I'm crazy here.
I'm just saying people will watch it regardless. Like I watch anime dubbed all the time, but again, that's not live action.
That's different. And they often, for those anime movies or TV shows, they often hire competent actors to do the dub because they know that they're selling to a Western audience. We're selling to a small third of our nation in Quebec. Like, that's what we're doing.
It's interesting because I'm curious because the Quebec French dub is probably different from the France French dub as well.
This is the Quebec French dub.
Yeah. This was just like a thought that I said.
All media. Yeah. Like, I have no issue with it. If you want to give a dub option, that's fine, but you need to give the English version first. And if you could just do the subtitles for the French side, that's better. Again, there's no way, if I only spoke French and I couldn't understand English, which is also not likely in Quebec, but regardless, if you're trying to like make sure that you're following the bilingual laws in Canada, like there's no way I would not just watch it in English with French dub, as evidenced by Squid Game. There's no way I was going to listen to it in dubbed. It sounded horrible.
Yeah.
It's like not even close. Anyway, I'll move on. But yeah, that's my story.
Yeah.
That's my story. We've got one more thing to review, Adrian.
Okay.
And it's a movie we watched together in theaters at the Cineplex. We talked about it. We alluded to it earlier. And the movie is Companion, the 2025 movie Companion, starring Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian, I'll let you go first because I've spoken for 20 minutes about how Crave is terrible. So I'll let you go.
Yeah, Stack TV also sucks. Just on the topic, $15 a month and you still give me ads? 3 per episode. It's a 20-minute show. The ads are like fucking 30 seconds long. Anyways,
so that's what Crave is. So I downgraded my Crave subscription. It's $15 per month and they give me ads. That's what it is.
That's brutal.
It's ridiculous.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what am I talking about? Companion. We're talking about the movie Companion. So I want to preface this. If you haven't seen even the trailer for Companion, somehow you haven't watched the second trailer, don't listen to this. I think you should just go watch this movie.
Sure.
Because I think the trailer for Companion actually spoils quite a bit of the movie, unfortunately. Like a specific twist that happens in the first third, I would say, of the movie. But it would have been kind of nice not to know. And your fiance actually wasn't aware of it. So when it happened, she was like, "Oh, that's crazy." So again, if you don't care about spoilers, very light spoilers that were shown in the trailer, sure, watch it. But again, in my personal opinion, I think if you have any interest in watching this movie, just go watch it and then you can come back here. But yeah, Companion, I really liked it. I think this is a really fun movie. It's a light-hearted horror comedy, very well acted. I think Sophie Thatcher is a delight to watch in this. I think she has very human emotions, which is very interesting, while still kind of playing a muted version of a human, which is really interesting. I think this movie touches on some very interesting, like what is not as deeply as many products do, but like kind of touches on like what makes someone a person. And when you walk into the movie, it essentially tells you, hey, like, I'm Sophie Thatcher. I met Jack Quaid. He's the love of my life. There's 2 days that I felt so good as when I met him and when I killed him. And then it kind of like goes from that point on. But yeah, I thought this movie was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I think, there is some interesting twists and turns throughout the movie, including, again, what's spoiled in the trailer. And what's spoiled is that she's a sex bot, essentially, a fuck bot, as I say in the movie, that Jack Quaid jailbreaks and she kills someone because he jailbroke it. But then kind of finding out, oh, like, why did he get to this point? Why did he decide to jailbreak her? What led us to this specific set of circumstances that's ultimately going to lead to her murdering him is, I think, very well done. And it builds a lot of suspense, and there's some, really well-balanced, heartfelt moments. I really liked, most of the cast of characters, even the people that you don't like, I still liked watching. And yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And I think it kind of all makes sense in the context of the tone of the movie. But after we came out of the movie, you were not so hot on it. You actually were, I would say, negative on this movie. So I'm more so curious what you have to say, Simon, in broad strokes here.
When I left the theater, I was a steaming ball of defiance, Adrian. You were very positive. My fiance was very positive. I could tell you were positive. There was this aura around you. You're like, oh, this is great. This movie's good.
It's really fun.
Now, I agree that it's fun, you see. But Adrian, it is in some way, it is a bit like it's Ex Machina at home. You know what I'm saying? We have Ex Machina at home is the situation. I find it's like a discount Ex Machina. Now, Ex Machina is not a comedy at all, mind you. Not at all. Zero.
Yeah.
Ex Machina is a drama, but it deals with very similar themes, actually. I don't know if you noticed, but it does actually deal with similar themes for sure.
Yeah,
it's about AI in some capacity. Yeah. What makes somebody human? Like the idea of freedom of AI. What does that mean? Are these people is an AI that's created in some capacity captive based on the way it's programmed? Things like that. Interesting. Cool. Okay. The point is that it pulls ideas from that, but maybe not deliberately. Sure. The problem with the movie is not that, though. I feel like it's not a very deep movie in the same way that you talked about Wolfman being, again, the characters are there to, for us as an audience. They don't live in that world. There's the realistic aspects of it. There's better production design potentially in this movie. And I felt like actually it was kind of oozing with style a little bit. The music choices, the shot composition, that part of it, the direction in that regard was actually kind of good.
Yeah, the color palette in this movie is also really good too.
Very good.
A lot of bright colors.
Yeah. Entertaining in a lot of ways. The comedy's quite good. I enjoyed that. Very cool. But first of all, the trailer spoiled the movie is a thing you said already, and we're spoiling it here based on the trailer. I guess that's we're getting to those points because it's kind of it's the way it is. I don't know why they felt like they had to market it that way though. A little weird because
I agree completely.
If they had not done that, I feel like it could have been a better movie in some way. But that's not my issue with the movie. The movie is riddled with plot holes, and I said that when we came out of the theater. There are so many plot holes that I couldn't believe it. And we're not going to do a spoiler cast review discussion for this particular movie. We're not going to do a closer look, but there are so many glaring plot holes that I was shocked how many there are. The movie is campy. I agree with you. You said that coming out of the theater. I agree. But the problem with it is that it's not campy enough that it's just a ridiculous mess. Like, for instance, I often give this example, The movie The Meg, is an okay movie, but it kind of takes itself a little too seriously. But The Trench, Adrian, The Meg 2 specifically, the movie with Jason, they're both Jason Statham movies where he's fighting off a giant shark, the megalodon shark. And so, spoiler alert, I'm kidding, that's not a spoiler. But he's fighting off the shark. The second movie completely embraces its campiness. It embraces its ridiculousness, and it just does ridiculous things within that world to the point where the physics in that world and the science behind that world just doesn't matter anymore. The details and the way the science works, the way the world works, even the way that the police work and various other elements work, the way the humans work, human beings don't act normal at all. They just don't react to people like getting killed and murdered. There's a reactions, but they're so muted. Like everyone's a sociopath, which just isn't true. Like it's just to me plot hole city in every way. And I feel like this is the writing, not anything else. I have a list. I literally wrote it down. There's so many points I can make. There are so many problems throughout this movie. It is one of the most plot-holy movies I've ever seen. And it's crazy. I look at Letterboxd scores. They're so high. Rotten Tomatoes, so high. Everyone loves this movie. I don't love it. I think it's a 2.5 out of 5. I can't live that down. That's just me. I can't. To me, 2.5 out of 5 to me is on the edge. It's on the cusp of being bad, cusp of being good. Did I enjoy it? Was it entertaining? Sure. It was very comedic. There's a joke about. There's a joke, especially Rupert Friend's character is just a fun. It's just he's well acted. His character is very interesting. But there's just this one joke with him that I thought was so good. I did laugh out loud. There was lots of moments that I laughed out loud. It was good in that regard. But it's just, I do not abide a bad narrative. I just cannot accept, if you do not live within the laws of your world, you created this universe. You created it. It's your science fiction tale to tell. If you do not abide by the laws of your own universe, you have failed as a screenwriter. You have to live by those laws. Like, there's literally, it's a spot in the trailer. I'm not going to say what happens because it will spoil what actually happens later, but it is something that's shown in the trailer that is happening on screen in the trailer. And they do not follow through with that exact thing, which is a major plot point later on in the movie, despite building that up and foreshadowing that would be something that would be a part of the plot. And it's such a major plot point that it's impossible to ignore. And that is just, I can't accept it. So that was my issue. And it's, again, it is using with style. There's lots of really cool things. Sophie Thatcher is excellent. I completely agree. She's the standout performance. She was great in Heretic as well. The movie with Hugh Grant. She's great. Awesome. Great performance. Nothing against her. Honestly, nothing against the actors. I don't think it has anything to do with them. I think the writing just doesn't have them have emotions. I think when you left the theater, you also said that the characters act like they would. I'm like, no, they don't. Like, no one is acting like human being. I would not act like that in that situation at all. And there's, I don't know anyone that would potentially act like that. There is one guy in the plot that I can see why he acts a certain way. That's fine. But the rest of them, no. There is issues, and they're just not making realistic decisions. Now, you could chalk it up to stupidity, but this is not a stupidity question. Like, you look at some of the alien movies. Some of the people in these alien movies are
really dumb.
They don't have any intelligence, despite the fact that they really
here's
should
a new
have
planet.
higher
I'm
levels.
taking off this helmet. Oh, there's a spores on the ground. There's a
no spoilers for alien movies here. No spoilers.
Let me step
for
on the
movies.
Spores and breathe it in. I wonder what's the worst thing that can happen on this spores planet.
What's the worst thing that can happen in this unknown environment? But yeah. Anyways, on the science perspective too, like the way the AI works and the way the bots work, it just doesn't. There's some problems there in the way that it's written there too, and that they make a flippant joke about the app that controls the bots at one point. I'm just like, this just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense because this is a more advanced version of our world. So you created a more advanced universe. You can't be regressing in certain ways because I don't know. I can't, it's too vague for me to really get into in a deeper way, I guess. But yeah, honestly, we have Ex Machina at home. This is literally discount Ex Machina. It's just this thing. Yeah. The reason why I'm saying this, I'll explain it to you. I see your face. The reason I'm saying this is because the way Ex Machina is detailed is the same way Anora is detailed. Everything that specifically was built in that movie is detailed. It's thought out. Movies should be thought out. They shouldn't just be frivolous. I know you like this idea of Jurassic World going to just be fun and that's okay. I don't agree. Yeah. Some of the Jurassic World movies are not good because they just don't follow the rules of their world, and that's an issue. Jurassic World follows them largely, and so that's why it's an okay movie. Same with Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park especially, by far the best version of a Jurassic.
Oh, I agree completely, because I think it balances both fun and intrigue, right? Like and
accuracy. It follows a science. Steven Spielberg put effort into making sure that it felt like could be a real thing. Making it feel relatable is useful.
Yeah, I just don't think Companion's going for the same tone or even the same message as Ex Machina is. So like that's why I wholeheartedly disagree. Yeah, cool, there are robots in it and like AI, but that's really it. Like I guess questioning what does it mean to be like human? And that's really that's I guess the two connections, but that's not really the focus. I think this movie is focused on entertainment ultimately. Like it's a fun, over the top movie, some hyper violence.
So was Secret Invasion.
I still think, yeah, but that's not entertaining. That's the issue. Is like and Secret Invasion is objectively bad, not only in its writing, but tonally, it's not fun. Whereas this movie, I think it dives into that fun tone. It wants you to be entertained. It wants you to have a good time, and that's exactly what I had with this.
But
movie.
so did Barbarian.
I'm not looking for.
Barbarian they're
was really
advertising
good.
this movie as being the brainchild of the Barbarian creators. That's not the Barbarian's well thought out. I don't have an issue with Barbarian's the characters don't make any choices in this movie that make sense because they don't react to things. They're I don't know.
Yeah, I think like within the context of the story and like
I feel like
how
you're kind of shutting off that idea. Like you don't want to. You just like this was fun and I don't care. But it's like I just can't look at any movie ever like that. I never look at movies like that. It's impossible. If your narrative is broken on a plot hole perspective, it's not possible for me to be like, it's fine.
I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I don't necessarily agree with you on the plot hole aspect either. Like, I know you mentioned a couple of the points to me and like, you know, thinking back, it's like, I just don't necessarily think those are plot holes. I think they set up.
That's not that one plot hole is such a plot hole. This is the biggest plot hole I've seen in like 5 years. There's no bigger plot hole than that.
Yeah. Again, it's
in the trailer,
but they touch on it. They do touch on it.
They don't touch on it. It's a major
They drop
point.
a couple lines. Again, it's tough to talk about this without like actually diving into spoilers. But again, like in my mind, like when specific things did or didn't happen, I feel like they do touch on it briefly, at least with a line or two of dialogue to kind of
they did not
make you understand it.
I'm talking about a phone call. Are you talking? I'm talking about a specific phone call. No, they did not touch on it.
They talk about where they're located. And because of that, and like how far they are from everything, they touch on it. I do agree, but again, I think it fits within the context of the world as well. But I get where you're coming from. I understand what you're pointing out in those plot holes. I just can get past them because I just don't think they are plot holes in the context of the movie.
How?
Yeah.
What kind of universe do you live in that, like in terms of like in our world, that would happen in our world?
But again, this isn't our world. Like it's a different world. Tonally, it's a different world. Where they are technologically is a different world. I completely
disagree. That's our world in almost every way, except it's just a little bit more technologically advanced.
Yeah, but because of that, it's different. And again, like the way, I think just it's
different in a worse way, and it's completely dysfunctional. Like the world doesn't work at all.
Dude, the world
society doesn't operate, is what you're saying. It's completely
the world barely works right now. Look at
not like that. I still don't know if you know what I'm even referencing as a plot hole.
I know what you're referencing. I know what you're referencing.
I just said it with Anora. The plot needs to dictate the action. Does the plot dictate the action? No. The plot does not dictate the action. This movie's just like frivolous comedy and action, but has no bearing on reality. I don't feel like I can relate to the characters because they just do things that are not characteristics of human beings that I am aware of in my world. And the world is a mirror of ours. So that's kind of where I'm at. I get what you're saying. I know why you like the comedy aspect. I get you like this frivolous good time, the escapism of it. But escapism for me,
I don't need to relate to these characters. Right? At least for me.
I mean, you kind of talked about this in other movies we've watched. You've talked about how when characters are completely unlikable, when you don't like any characters, you don't like the movie. That's what you've said.
Yeah,
before.
but I think tone has a lot to do with it as well. Sure. And I mean, I did bring that up for like Platonic as well. But again, like I think in this movie, again, I still liked watching these characters. Like it wasn't like I was frustrated watching them. I'm like, oh, these guys are kind of shitty, but it's still like fun to watch. And again, the comedy I think outweighs them being bad. Whereas in Platonic is a show that's meant to be a comedy and it's just not good.
I'm not saying it's a 2 out of 5. It's 2.5. It's like on the fence.
2.5, baby. Oh, whoa.
You were on the cusp.
You rate Wolfman? Did you rate Wolfman 2.5 as well?
Yeah, but for different reasons.
Yeah, fair enough. Touche.
Like there's plot holes in Wolfman, but they're not like, it's not like glaring. They're obvious, like because the characters are so stupid. They just make dumb decisions. But I don't think
itself too seriously as well.
That's the problem with it.
Doesn't. Right?
That's why I was questioning whether it's a 3 or a 5. Like Dawn was saying that just make it a 3. Because I asked her, I'm like, should I say it's a 3? And she's like,
Well,
yeah, say it's a 3.
I mean, at the end of the day, your opinion is valid. Like like I get where you're coming from. I disagree with it, like on a personal level. Like I don't value those things as highly as you do.
But you admit
to me, like,
that
this
it's a
movie
plot
was
hole.
great.
We had a brief break and we came back just for the audience to understand. We talked about the spoilers for a brief second.
The one thing.
There's one specific thing that's... But the phone call thing is related to another piece of it, though. You have to understand, like, near the end of the movie, it's also related. There's also another problem. They just stack up. Here's the thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say about Companion, okay?
Okay, please.
And then I'll move on.
Please.
Companion...
You're my companion.
It didn't have to be bad. The mistake they made is so amateurish. It's like, what, did they film the scene and couldn't do reshoots? Why would they do that? Is the question I'm asking. The point I'm making is like the other plot holes aren't as bad, but there's like this is the point I was making about Anora. There's an attention to detail that makes me feel like I am there. That's a comedy too.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a different kind of comedy, perhaps. This is obviously more campy and Companion, but that's the idea. Is like I like feeling related to these characters. I'm not a sex worker. Like I don't relate to her. Like I relate to her on a human level.
Yeah,
that's
you're not advantage. A sex worker.
Don't give me those eyes.
You're not.
But that's kind of where I'm coming from in this. Is it's the detail, and the devil's in the detail, but also the devil's so not in the detail here. The devil was in the detail in the cinematography, the color palette as you described, the things people are wearing. The really, really funny painting that's covering a wall in one of the shots that they just show in the background. It's not even really addressed by the character. It's just, there's really great things like Rupert Friend's character, his ridiculous haircut. Like it's like there's just these awesome pieces, but why is the detail so specific there and so great, and then the rest of it, it's like, oh, we don't really care though about that. Like the plot. Like, I don't really understand. Like, if you had just changed that detail, the movie would be like a 4 from me out of 5. But because you don't really care about the main thing that a movie is, which is the plot, I can't help you. I can't like it. But again, you're not in the minority. I am.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees with you. You look online, no one agrees with me. I try to look up like plot holes in this movie. People don't even mention it. I'm like, how can you not be mentioning this obvious thing? It's in the trailer. There's too much screen time even used up for this aspect that I'm referring to. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
We were resolved. We talked on the phone before we started this, and we said we would do review scores just for the heck of it, which would be a fun thing. They're going to be like, they're almost like in the moment review scores. I would say they're in the moment, like ATM review scores, you know, we're not, because my review scores change all the time in Letterboxd based on what I've been watching recently. Or
the current, it's your current bank account balance.
Yeah, exactly. My current bank account balance for this movie. I almost want to say it is a 3. I've been balancing this for the whole day. I've been thinking about this for 2 days. I'm like, is it a 3? Is it a 2.5? But I'll let you score it, and then I'll get influenced by what you say.
So just real quick, son, like I understand that you're rating it for different reasons, but to say this movie's on the same level of Wolfman is in my personal opinion preposterous. So if you don't rate this movie a 3, then you better fucking drop Wolfman. You better go into Letterboxd and drop Wolfman down, because that drives me insane. But for me, I would say like this is a 4. Like it's a 4 for me. It's a fun time. I just really enjoyed it. It's a good romp. You know, these are the kind of movies I really like. Just a good time. It's entertaining. Every once in a while, I wanted an Anora. I wanted an Anora, which is an Oscar-nominated Best Picture movie starring 2 Oscar-nominated actors. You know, like it's an
Oscar-nominated director
and Oscar-nominated directors.
Yeah.
It's great, you know. And then sometimes I just want to watch Sophie Thatcher kill some people. You know what I mean?
I do what you mean. My question is it the campiness of the Meg 2? You know, but it's got more.
I didn't watch Meg 2.
Oh yeah,
so I don't.
That's wild. No. That's your type of movie. No, I'm not recommending it to you.
So I was gonna watch Meg 2, but then I heard that they didn't go as deep into the campiness as
it's the opposite. It's more campy. It's crazier.
Okay.
I watched them almost back to back, I think, because Don likes these types of crazy movies, especially movies with giant monsters. He likes giant monsters like the kaiju and the Jurassic Park monsters, and
like Rampage starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Did you ever watch that?
What would you have rated Wolfman?
Maybe like a 2.5 as well. Like, I feel like Wolfman, it was middling. Like, it's not like I think we talked about it. Like, I wish it was a worse movie so I could make fun of it more, but it was just bland. It was just a movie. Wolfman was
isn't that just a sin in and of itself? You know?
So technically Wolfman's a 0 then on my scale. It's the worst. so 2.5 equals 0. What? And a 2 is better than a 2.5 sometimes.
Okay.
But a 2.5 is always the worst. The reason I want to do the
scale is because I want to be able to do, when we do closer look episodes or in-depth episodes, the review episodes, it would be nice to go back to them. And then if you go to because I'm going to timestamp the review scores, and then you can kind of go and check, and then it'll show you. There's also like a relationship between, because Rotten Tomatoes is always going to probably exist, is that you can kind of go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at our score versus that score. Like if you're going back in time and just like reminiscing about the good old days of our podcast recordings. I don't know.
Should we make a website called Rotten Potatoes? You think we'd be?
Think we get away with that?
Yeah. Just Rotten Potatoes. And the reviews are just our reviews. It's like a review so it's like it's either 0%, 50%, or 100% every single movie because it's just the two.
Right. So the other thing we talked about, and I want to mention this actually, because this is actually something I feel like is worth mentioning. The reason I also wanted to do this is because the way we did the review scores previously is we each reviewed it out of 5, and then we added the score up together to get it out of 10.
Yeah.
And there's a good, I don't find a lot of websites do that. And I think that it's kind of annoying. And I think that it's most annoying because we talked about IGN's review of The Penguin Show from HBO and how that was a 5 out of 10 for the overall show. But there are multiple episodes that have an 8 or a 7. Yeah. How could that be a 5 then? It's because one person reviewed the whole season and there's multiple different people that reviewed the various episodes. That is so stupid. I can't believe that they don't understand that they could just come together and decide on a review score, but they didn't. And I don't know. I can't make them do that. Obviously I don't work at IGN. Regardless of that,
the Penguin 5 out of 10. You're a chump.
It's absurd.
You're a chump.
It's absurd because it's also, I think it's a 90, right? Or an 89% of Rotten Tomatoes right now too. Did they just not want to just be unique so they can get clicks? I think that's what the point you made.
They're chumps.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
they're chumps.
I find it really. I feel it might be disingenuous. Like I don't understand how you can give it a 5. They give it a 6 maybe.
If you're a chump, but even that's how, Simon.
Every episode of that show felt like it left me on the edge of my seat. There were. Yeah. I kept wondering, how is Oswald Cobb going to get out of these situations? Like, how's the Penguin I kept wondering every episode, I'm like, he's screwed now every time. And then at the next episode, he somehow gets out of it. It's incredible. It's a great show. That show's amazing. I don't know what people would possibly see negative in it personally. I mean, I don't know. It seems pretty stupid. Yeah. Now you got me on the spot. You kind of threatened my livelihood of my own brain, my mental livelihood.
I'll kill your brain.
This idea that I shouldn't give it a 2.5, I should give it a 3. I was entertained.
You gotta take that into consideration. Like, did you have fun?
I was entertained. I know.
You gotta.
Oh, was Wolfman a 2.5 or a 2?
Again, if you rate Companion 2.5, Wolfman has. You know what?
Fine. I'll do it for you. You know what? It was good enough. I'll give it a 3. It was entertaining. Just honestly,
that's 100% on Rotten Potatoes. We just got to have our first 100% on our hit website, Rotten Potatoes.
Wait, what about 100% anyway?
2.5
plus 4 is.
We got our first 100% on Rotten Potatoes, anyways, regardless of our score.
Yes.
Welcome to Rotten Potatoes.
I could have given it 0.5 less, and then it would have been rotten. Or no, I guess it would have been 1 less than 2.5. Yeah, it would have to be 1. We're at this. I'm rating it a 3.
Doesn't matter.
I'm doing. You know what? I appreciate what you've said here. I don't think you convinced me of anything, but regardless of that,
that's fair.
It was good enough. So
I rarely do.
Good. The music was good. Was good. No, you convinced me. You do convince me. I'm a little stubborn, but you've convinced me to watch various things and play. I'm
stubborn
games.
As well. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's why I didn't convince you that plot hole exists.
Yeah.
I kind of convinced you in the interim where the audience wasn't listening to us.
I can see where you're coming from. But
that one plot hole, but the other plot holes you weren't interested. Like, shut up, you said to me. Shut up, you asshole. That's what you said.
Bitch.
That's what you said to me. That's not very nice.
Bitch.
That's what you said.
I'll fucking kill you, is what I said.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
There's that one line that's unbelievable in Deadpool and Wolverine. That I just think about that often. I've seen the clips of that line. I'm sure a lot of people have had that spoiled for them, even if they haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine. But one particular actor says this like ridiculous diatribe of basically just, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. The hubba. Yeah. I'm glad you understand. For me going hubba, and you're like, yeah, that one.
Hubba.
That exact line, that hit line from Deadpool and Wolverine that's circulating the web.
We can't spoil it. We can't spoil it here. We don't spoil things on this podcast. Okay, Adrian, it's time to move on. This is. I'm wondering how long this episode's going to be. Are we going to be last week?
I have to pee though.
Oh, you don't want me to do the? Okay.
Oh, you want to do the opening and then I go pee?
No, get out of here. Go pee.
Get out of here.
Now there's going to be a weird cut here where you just go pee and then return.
That's fine. Just include. Yeah.
I'm a lazy.
Did you mark it in the calendar?
What's that?
Did you mark it? Did you mark it in the notes?
I'm going to mark it. Footnote. Pee time.
Yeah. Tiny butt man takes pee.
Yes. All right. Get out of here, tiny butt man. Get out of here.
Right.
Aha. Tiny butt man returns.
Tiny butt man's back after pissing.
In the toilet. All right. Now on to the montage, a sequence of our show in which I briefly present 7 of the week's smaller news stories as Adrian delivers a brisk verdict. Number 1. According to Deadline, Juno and Beyond Two Souls actor Elliot Page's production company Pageboy has acquired the rights from game developer Quantic Dream to develop a TV series adaptation for the Willem Dafoe starring video game Beyond Two Souls.
Wow, that's interesting. It's a pretty good game. I enjoyed playing it through back on the PS3. It's good.
Number 2. As publication Deadline has reported, the Blacklist star Ulrich Thompson has been cast as the villain Sinestro, alongside Game Night actor Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan and Mufasa actor Aaron Pierre in HBO's DC Universe TV series Lanterns.
Wow, I forgot that this show was happening, that this was going to be a show.
Number 3. According to Deadline, the Peter Dinklage starring Toxic Avenger film reboot will launch on Labor Day weekend in September.
I swear to goodness, this movie came out like a year ago. Did it not?
No.
Did this movie not come out?
No.
Am I crazy?
Number 4. According to entertainment website IGN, a movie adaptation of the action video game Sleeping Dogs is in the works, and Shang-Chi actor Simu Liu is attached to star as protagonist Wei Shen.
Wow, I've played this game actually, Simon, on the Xbox 360, Sleeping Dogs. It's really good. It's actually really good. It's cool.
Number 5. As Deadline reports, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer revival TV series is very close to receiving a pilot order from Disney's Hulu streaming service, with Nomadland director Chloe Zhao directing and actor Sarah Michelle Gellar to reprise her role as Buffy. Reportedly, Buffy creator Joss Whedon will not be involved.
Oh my god, this is something I don't give a fuck about. I'll be honest with you.
Number 6. As reported by Deadline, House of the Dragon actor Rhys Ifans has been cast in a starring role for Apple TV Plus's For All Mankind spin-off Star City, a series set to explore For All Mankind's space race alternative history from the perspective of Russia's Soviet space program.
Oh, interesting. I gotta watch For All Mankind. I gotta watch it. I'll get around to it at one point in time.
Number 7. According to a February 1st filed lawsuit, the Superman estate is suing to stop the James Gunn directed Superman Legacy movie from releasing in the UK, Ireland, Australia, and Canada.
That's where we live.
Due to a territory-connected rights dispute.
Simon, we live in Canada. We wouldn't get this movie. We live there. What are we going to do? Are we going to drive to the United States? Are we going to drive to Buffalo? The Niagara border of Buffalo? And go into a theater in Buffalo? Maybe we could get maybe we could get Olive Garden because I've never had Olive Garden prior to the watching this movie in Buffalo. We can go to Chili's after the movie and get the triple dipper thing. I actually went to Chili's once. I was gonna go to Olive Garden in the United States, but there was a long wait, and then there was a Chili's right next to the Olive Garden, so we went to the Chili's. It was really good because they had this chicken tortilla soup that was actually really good. It was real good, Simon. And then and it was like this lunch like special that we went for, and then I forget what I got, but it was good. It was good, and I think there was a quesadilla involved.
Is that all? Okay, good. I'm glad you understand the definition of brisk verdict. Mm-hmm. And that concludes the montage.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay, Buffalo. Okay, cool, man. All right, cool. I just realized I don't know why I didn't put Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre is playing the other Green Lantern. I wrote down that Hal Jordan's being played by Kyle Chandler, who I like quite a bit. But Aaron Pierre, he's playing the other Green Lantern. I think he's the star. I don't know why the heck I left his role out.
Because you're a racist, I think.
Don't do that.
We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back from the start of the episode.
Aaron Pierre is an Old, apparently. I think I remember him in Old. Do you remember Old? What a movie.
Unfortunately, I remember Old.
What a movie.
Oh my God, we're on a beach. Oh my God.
Jon Stewart. How can I forget that? The Daily Show's Jon Stewart. Anyway, yeah, he's playing Jon Stewart. That show looks pretty good. I'm excited about the Lantern show. I'm excited for it, especially because you like Creature Commandos that much, and Creature Commandos is really well reviewed. I don't know. I feel like James Gunn's DC universe is going to be off to a potential good start, unless we don't get it unless we don't get the first live action movie in Canada, which would be pretty terrible.
Peacemaker season 2 is this year, is it not?
Ooh, is it?
It must be. I feel like they did the what's coming in 2025, and Peacemaker season 2 is upon that list.
If it is, I don't know why I didn't make that one of my honorary mentions for things I'm looking forward to, because I loved Peacemakers season 1. I thought it was great. I think the intro is probably one of the greatest intros to any TV show ever.
It's August 2025, according to Wikipedia, which is a top site for me.
Oh, well. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Now to get to the topic of the show for episode 103. A streamer spotlight for the most successful streaming service that there is, Adrian.
Quibi.
Netflix.
Oh, whoa. You just knocked something.
Yeah, everything's safe. Not Quibi. Thank you, though. Not Quick Bites, but Netflix. We'll take a small look at Netflix as a company and examine the 2025 slate of film and TV originals coming to Netflix this year. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you drinking vodka or something? Why are you making that face while you're drinking? Is it
not vodka?
Tasty? Is it not tasty?
No, it's apple.
Oh, apple juice.
Yeah.
Apple vodka.
AJ. Yeah, green apple vodka. I'd rather kill myself, Simon. When I go to Chuck's Roadhouse and I don't want to drink, and I don't want to have like a beer, because you have to buy a drink with your half-priced appetizers after 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Correct. Yeah.
And sometimes I order an apple juice instead of having a beer. And one guy, he like scoffed. He was like, an apple juice. I was like, fuck you,
The
Jake.
waiter or somebody you were with at the table?
No, the waiter. He was a dickhead waiter. We haven't had him in a while. I hope he...
Like how you said one guy. Like I was going to know which guy you're talking about.
Waiter.
I don't know. Okay.
The waiter guy.
It's like waiter guy.
Get an apple juice? I'm like, yeah, you fucking bitch. Give me my apple juice.
They're not... From my experience with Chuck's Roadhouse, I must say I haven't had the greatest experience with service.
That's fair.
But, I mean...
that's fair. I'm not
it's like 50-50 chance. Like, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not good.
Yeah.
That's what I find. Which is unfortunate.
50-50.
Yeah. Anyway.
Good
all right. Back to Netflix. All right.
Oh,
Here we go. Here we go. You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Excellent. Netflix has come a very long way from its roots as a DVD by mail service that was founded by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph in 1997. Today, Netflix is by far the largest subscription-based video streaming service with a whopping 302 million subscribers worldwide, as announced on their January earnings presentation. For reference, the second most popular streaming service is Amazon Prime, which is estimated to have just over 200 million subscribers. As publication, The Hollywood Reporter reported on January 21st, Netflix added a record number of subscribers in its fourth quarter of 2024, with an incredible 19 million subscribers joining the streaming giant between October 1st and December 31st, 2024. In fact, this marks a record number of subscribers added for any quarter since the company's inception. It is interesting to see how Netflix has transformed itself post-COVID. In 2020, the company announced that they would no longer be cash flow negative going forward, after being notoriously known for taking on debt to fuel their ever-growing library of premium content. With that in mind, they did exactly that in the fourth quarter of 2024 by earning $10.2 billion in revenue and $2.3 billion in profit, despite spending $17 billion on content in 2024.
How does that math? That's crazy.
They intend to spend a gigantic $18 billion on content in 2025. In recent years, Netflix has really diversified their portfolio of content, with their addition of video games to the service in 2021 and their more recent push to host incredibly popular live events, such as the in-demand Mike Tyson-Jake Paul boxing match last year. They also cracked down on out-of-household account password sharing in 2023, which was deemed by the company as a clear success story, as evidenced by the increase in subscriber numbers in late 2023. Days after the earnings presentation, Netflix looked to the future by announcing their slate of film and TV releases for 2025. On the film side of things, we have animated movie The Witcher: Sirens of the Deep, starring Geralt of Rivia video game actor Doug Cockle, launching on February 11th. I knew you were going to laugh. I knew it. He's a real guy and he's a great voice actor. Launching on February 11th. On March 7th, the Russo brothers directed science fiction film The Electric State premieres, a film that consists of a star-studded cast that includes Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, and Ke Huy Quan. The Charlize Theron starring action movie The Old Guard 2 releases on July 2nd. Horror movie sequel Fear Street: Prom Queen is planned for a summer release, and director Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein movie starring Oscar Isaac is planned for a November release date. Then we have director Rian Johnson's upcoming Daniel Craig starring Knives Out sequel Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, and the Matt Damon Ben Affleck starring Miami crime drama R.I.P. Actually, RIP, I believe. Both arriving sometime in the fall. Lastly, the much-anticipated Adam Sandler starring golf comedy Happy Gilmore 2 is undated, but set to release sometime in 2025. On the TV side of things, Karate Kid series Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 is set for a February 13th release date, and a Robert De Niro thriller series called Zero Day arrives February 20th. Plus, the Devil May Cry video game series is getting an animated TV series adapted from it that launches on April 3rd. The Penn Badgley starring final season of thriller series You premieres on April 24th. And Season 3 of the incredibly popular South Korean series Squid Game launches on June 27th. Additionally, science fiction series Black Mirror Season 7, Neil Gaiman's The Sandman Season 2, The Witcher Season 4 starring Liam Hemsworth, a crime drama series starring and directed by Ozark's Jason Bateman called Black Rabbit, the much-anticipated Season 2 for Tim Burton's Wednesday series, and the incredibly hyped-up final season of Stranger Things have all been announced to be coming out in 2025, but don't have official release dates just yet. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Netflix has increased their various subscription tier prices again in the United States, Canada, Argentina, and Portugal. These new prices went into effect on January 28th. For reference, the Canadian 4K supported top-tier subscription plan is now $23.99 from its previous price of $20.99 Canadian. In the United States, the 4K tier is now a whopping $24.99 American from its previous $22.99 per month price tag. The last time Netflix increased their prices was less than 2 years ago at the end of 2023. Adrian, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
A lot to potentially unpack, perhaps. I guess the main news is really their financials. They seem to be doing very well. Very well. But there's I feel like the more germane to our show topic of what's coming out and are you excited for it? But I guess you can let's talk about the numbers first to get that out of the way, and then we can talk about what you're excited for, potentially.
Yeah, like the price increase numbers, or do you mean like
I
the
was just
numbers
thinking,
numbers
like, I don't know if you have anything to
increase?
say about the fact that they actually gained the most subscribers they've ever gained in this
It's
quarter.
it's weird, man. Like what came other than Squid Game? What came out?
The live events.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
WWE, NFL. That stands for
Yeah,
National
and the
Football
boxing
League.
match between
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, an
right.
actual rapist, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, the NFL thing for sure is something, and then the WWE is a huge contract too. So there's a lot there for people to subscribe for.
Yeah,
but yeah, let's get in. You're right. Let's get into that's a good point. Like all of this is kind of mired a little bit by the fact that they obviously increased the prices in both Canada and in the US. Keep in mind that Canada
it's cheaper.
Is somehow cheaper. And it's not only cheaper because the Canadian dollar is less, but we also see it being cheaper because it's just less dollars. Like it's funny that the American price is more, but it's interesting when you look at the market for like retail stuff, just goods like electronics, etc. All of these companies that decide on the price based on what they think they can do in the market, based on what they think the trends are and what they think they can afford. And it's easier than a retail environment because people can kind of cross the border from the US to Canada or the Canada to the US to buy something, whereas you can't really do that with IP addresses unless you're really dedicated to VPN, which they might have discovered is actually not a big thing for them because they can kind of block VPNs in a certain way. So I think that really this is a true indicator that they think there's more of an appetite for a price increase in the US than in Canada. That's what I believe it means, personally.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that it's considerably more expensive in the US because it's more American dollars than it is Canadian dollars, which is nuts. But I just think it's ridiculous. I personally just think it's ridiculous that it's that expensive in general. I don't care which nation we're talking about. It's too much money. I think that that's ridiculous. I think without password sharing, it becomes not valuable to me. I recently canceled Netflix. I think I might have said that on episode 102. I'm of the mind that it's not like I'm saying I don't like Netflix. I like their content generally. I also find though that it is a bit diluted. My issue is it's a bit diluted with a lot of crap. They launch good stuff every year. That's awesome. That's great. But I rather just jump in and watch what was popular at the time potentially, or what's coming out, or maybe a wait for something to completely release. And then, although they usually just release their shows right away, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's unlike the week-to-week coverage from like Apple TV or Amazon in some cases. But I just find that it's just easier to only pay for half the year because you can just cancel, come back. I don't know if I've talked to you about this previously, but when you cancel, come back, they claim that your comeback date, like the day you came back to the service, is actually the date you've been a member since. It says member since and then gives you the date. So as much as we initialized our Netflix account, I think it was in 2012, maybe 2010 or something like that. Originally, doesn't matter. They believe that I was a member since the day I renew. And I find that hilarious because I feel like that's a slight on purpose because they're like, well, you left us. But for me, it reminds me of certain jobs I've had where I've left and come back and they don't give me the benefits that I've had before. And I'm just thinking like, don't you want to retain me more? I don't really understand. Like, wouldn't you want to honor the fact that I did pay for like 10 years for your service and I only started canceling, coming back because of the fact that you've removed the family sharing? I'm not doing it as a protest. It's not a protest. I kept it because I could share it with my family and there was more value because there was more people benefiting from the service. Checking the actual logs of people who logged into Netflix on my account, they were actually not logging in very frequently. Like a lot of my family just didn't log in that frequently. So you're not losing anything. You're just kind of losing me. But then again, clearly this password sharing thing helped. Yeah, it helped them. Yeah. So I'm wrong. I'm in the minority. We complained about this a lot, if I recall correctly, on our podcast years ago. But yeah, clearly.
Yeah, I think it's preposterous. It's too much money. I think that the general cost of honestly anything is crazy. And again, not to bring up video games or anything like that, but you think about subscription services.
I have this note. Good, yeah, good thought.
Oh, okay, yeah. You think about subscription services like, I mean, we're big PlayStation guys. Like I have PlayStation Plus Premium or Xbox Game Pass, which I don't have, but I have used in the past. And you're paying a less than what the fucking cost is here, because I think a year of PlayStation Plus Premium is $190, which is expensive, but the benefits I get out of that are far more valuable to me as a consumer than what I get out of Netflix.
Yeah,
and again, sorry,
Game Pass is another good example. We're both PlayStation fans, but Game Pass, like the value is crazy. Like
it's nuts,
Call of Duty is a massive. Imagine how much time. There's also the idea of like the time of entertainment value for time span, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much time you would spend with a specific game, and how long they are. Usually games are a lot longer. Like a quality game, like my favorite game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
You can play that game and it's quality almost at every moment. You can play that game
Hundreds
for like
of hours,
200 hours, right? And you're getting one TV show or a few TV shows. Like you're not really. Depends on the person's value. You're right, the value proposition. But each show is not that long. Each show is probably about 10 hours for a season. So you're not really getting that. It's interesting because I don't know. Maybe the price of creating the content is actually higher than that. So that's kind of where they can justify it perhaps on their financial level. I feel like it's a bit of greed because they're not only breaking even, they're making money. It's crazy though when we think about Game Pass, because I feel like Xbox Game Pass is losing money. I swear, I don't think it's possible that they make money on that.
No,
I still to this day, which is crazy.
It's Microsoft though, right? Like they make money off everything, like everything else, right? They're such a big company. Like they can take a loss in one aspect because they're making so much money on every other aspect, right?
With that being said, though, Netflix has vowed not to do that anymore. So I can see why they might be hesitant. It's just the content, though. I find their quality metric because of how much dilution, how much is diluted, how much crap they have on there. You like the reality shows, perhaps, but I don't really care for that at all. And so it's not tailored to me. I do not care about the WWE, and I feel like I'm paying for that. Like if I look at PlayStation Plus Premium, I can pretty much dabble in most of the stuff on that service, like theoretically. Some of the games aren't great, but they're usually a lot I can dabble in.
Yeah, like for me specifically, like again, I pay the $190 for the year of PlayStation Plus Premium, and I get more than $190 of value out of that.
If you break down every game, if you were buying them separately, certainly.
Yeah. Exactly, right? And that's not even including the passive benefits of like cloud saves and all that sort of stuff too, right?
Right.
So like to me, it's more than valuable. I don't pay for Netflix. I use my parents' Netflix, right? I'm living in their home up until next week. And when I move and they crack down on password sharing, I'm going to follow suit like you. I'm not going to pay for Netflix. I will pay for a month when You comes out. I'll pay for a month. Yeah, you. Yeah, Simon. The hit TV show Simon Eady coming on out. It's because I put a bunch of cameras throughout your house. I watch you do everything. I sent it all to Netflix. They're making a TV show about you. It's called Simon Eady Xylophone.
What?
Sex. That's the name of the show because sex sells. That's what they're making. That's what they called your show, Simon. They called it Sex. It's crazy. But anyways... so I'm gonna pay for a month of the UTV series. I'll pay for a month once Squid Game comes out, and I will pay when Jason Bateman's Black Rabbit show comes out. Right. But those are really the only ones that like I need to watch. Stranger Things, probably. Like I'll probably pay for a month for that time as well. Most likely,
I will for sure. Yeah.
But again, even all the movies that are coming out. It's crazy that they're coming out with the Old Guard too. I feel like the first Old Guard movie came out like 17 years ago. I feel like I was a child.
It did well though. It did well from my recollection. Like it
did, yeah.
It had a lot of viewership. So
and like Fear Street is really the big movie out of the list that you mentioned that I really, really want to watch. Obviously, Knives Out sequel, cool. Yeah, like I'll watch that. I like Rian Johnson as a director. I like the two Knives Out movies, but
Rip looks good to me. I like the idea of Rip with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck team up.
Oh, yeah.
The crime drama in Miami. That looks pretty cool. I'm into that.
Yeah.
I like Happy Gilmore, so.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Classic. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, never watched Happy Gilmore. I was a
And
big
then
daddy
the other
guy.
one, okay, I saw both, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. You can
But,
only choose one to watch. You broke the rules of childhood, Simon. You can only watch one of those movies.
Good to know. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein doesn't interest you? Oscar Isaac's in it? No?
I mean, I'll watch it maybe. Again, just because a great director's attached to something doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to love the movie. I think about Robert Eggers. Like, I love Robert Eggers movies, and then I watched Nosferatu, and I was like, I can see the appeal. Not for me, but I can see the appeal. Like, it's a cinematic marvel. Like, it's beautiful. It's well shot, well acted. But this is not my cup of tea. So I don't know if, like, Guillermo del Toro is, like, following... If I'm going to watch a Frankenstein movie, let's just say I'm watching the Alvin and the Chipmunks Frankenstein movie. If I'm going to choose one of them, it's going to be the Alvin and the Chipmunks one.
Interesting. Okay.
The animated one.
Yeah, I get it.
Which is great. It's a great movie. They also did the Alvin and the Chipmunks werewolf movie as well. Great movie as well.
Good to know. Okay.
That's what I should have watched instead of Wolfman. The Alvin and the Chipmunks werewolf movie, which is great, Simon. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think, the prices are just a little bit excessive. All things considered. And I do understand, like, it costs a lot of money to make these shows. But when, again, like, that, I don't give a shit about how much it costs you. I care about my value proposition. And when it comes to, again, we've been talking about video games like Game Pass and stuff like that, but like video games in general, like, I'm more than happy to pay $90 Canadian for many a game that I know I'm going to get a lot of time and value out of. I don't buy every single game like brand spanking new for $90, but there are certain games I'm going to buy for $90 and not care about it. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that I bought last year. I bought it for $90. I played through it one time, spent over 100 hours on it, and I'm going to go back to it in the near future probably and replay it. And like, fuck, dude, if that game came out and it was $200, I would have paid for that happily and still gotten a better value proposition than going to the movie theater, paying $13 a ticket and spending an hour and a half there. You know what I mean?
The issue with Netflix to me is that they're trying to be a one-size-fits-all approach, but I don't like that approach. Like, I prefer Apple TV Plus. Like, I got to be real. It's less expensive, but every show is good content. They're not trying to do... Apple TV Plus is not trying to do video games in their service. They're not trying to do WWE. They are actually trying to do some sports content, I think, but you got to be a little bit more focused. It's like $12.99 for Apple TV Plus, I believe, in Canada.
It is, yeah.
And so, like, that's a pretty good value for the quality of shows they have. I mean, that price might just start going up, especially because Netflix is the market leader, so they could influence the entire industry. I mean, they did
with the password sharing thing. They literally did. Disney Plus launched.
Yeah, because Disney did it too. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just annoying. But Disney Plus is also less expensive. After Amazon Prime, Disney Plus is the next highest subscriber number for a streaming service. And their quality is typically pretty good too. And it's Disney, so it's interesting. I don't know.
How much is Amazon Prime Video, though? Like, on its own?
Cost is way less. It's crazy because you get all the other stuff. Amazon Prime. Can you even buy Amazon Prime Video separately? You have to get Amazon Prime and that's it, right?
Because I think you can buy Amazon Music separately. I swear to God.
I don't know if you can get Prime Video separately. But Prime Video added that $2 tier, right? Where you have to pay $2 extra to get no ads now.
Honestly, they launched that and I was so annoyed. And then, like, you turn something on and it's a 30-second ad at the start of a 2-hour movie. And it's like, okay, it doesn't actually bother me.
It looks like in Canada it's $10 to buy it separately. It looks like. I don't know. Those is AI. Oh my God. These AI things, they often get things wrong. They just scrape the web and they don't scrape it properly. It says that here, but I'm wondering now if that's wrong. But yeah, okay. That's kind of the idea. I don't know. I don't know. I get it. They have to make their money back, but it's like at a certain point, then you're kind of a cable service because you've just basically added all of these things. I like the focused approach of the streaming services that I'm watching. Like Disney Plus is pretty focused generally. I don't know. It's pretty. I don't know. Apple TV is probably the most focused, and I think they just give you really high quality content, and that's it.
Yeah.
What else is there? Amazon Prime is not focused on that they give you other services, but they're way less expensive.
They also give you
somehow.
live TV channels for free.
Disney. Sorry, Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they give you a lot actually. Like sometimes I watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette on Amazon Prime because they have a City TV as just like a live channel.
I got to be honest, I don't like Amazon TV on like Apple TV Plus. I find it very annoying. Apple TV Plus shows up with like if I look up a movie, it will show up with Amazon Prime, and I go in there and they try to rent it to me. It's like I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's really
annoying that they do that.
And I don't know why Apple allows that. To be honest, I have no idea what they're thinking because they sell their own. They sell rentals themselves. Why are they?
Do they let you rent it on your iPhone though? Or on your Apple TV? Or does it say like this?
I think so. Or it gives you an option. I just don't. It's just annoying in general. I don't want to do that. I have an iTunes account. I'm going to use the iTunes. I'm just not going to use your Amazon Prime. It's not on there. Clearly, it's not. That's on the streaming service. So they don't offer it. But anyway, it's getting sidetracked. It's obviously not a conversation about Amazon. But yeah. Anyway, it's too much money to me. I think it's just silly and it's getting ridiculous. And here's the other thing. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This is actually a huge part of this. So. This is the top tier of Netflix, right? Not everyone's going to pick the top tier. They're going to choose the ad tier or something else. Netflix is in a unique position. Not all of the other streaming services are doing this, that I can't pick the other tiers. I want 4K and I want Dolby Atmos. I am not going to pick the other options. Whereas like the other services, Amazon's a good example. Amazon Prime gives you 4K at their ad tier that I'm on now, the same tier I've always been on, and they downgraded and made me pay the extra $2 if I want to get rid of ads. Sorry, and I just chose not to get rid of ads, so I'm not paying that extra $2. Netflix doesn't give you the option. They gate you at that idea of, oh, you want 4K? Well, you got to pay for the premium version.
Yeah,
and like that sucks. Like I have no choice. Like I want the quality to be good, or I don't want it at all, and that's why cancel come back as my solution. I just find that they're not really thinking it through because I would take ads, no problem. Let me give you the ad revenue. I don't actually care as long as the ads are not incredibly egregious and long and just take up like multiple ad spots within the actual episode. I'm good with that. So that's the main criticism I kind of had with it. But
now anyway. Aside, I know we're talking about Netflix, and again, I agree with everything that you're saying here. With Apple TV, do you start and stop your subscription there too? Or is it like at a point that it's like low enough and that you always have something that you want to watch on there?
I do not. Apple TV is in the unique position that they do not do that at all. They don't do password sharing. They don't care.
It's true. Yeah. It is awesome.
I'm sharing with my family. The other thing that's interesting, and this is where they have me now, but it might change as the prices increase. I actually am an Apple One subscriber. Apple One is you get iCloud and Apple News and Apple Music, which I already was subscribing to separately, and Apple TV Plus. And then you basically just you get two of those services in some way for free. I also get Apple Arcade, but I just don't even use it because I'm a PlayStation user.
Dude, play Balatro.
I know. I saw the Balatro was on Apple Arcade, and I thought about playing it there. But I really love trophies. I don't think I could do it. I'd have to buy it. It's cheap too. It's inexpensive on PlayStation. I really should just honor the Canadian, local thunk. The name of the developer.
Do it up, man. It's that
would be what I would do. I'm not going to do that now because I've got too many games on the go. But regardless of that, so I've got a lot of these streaming services, and they're all shared throughout my entire family for not that low of a price. To be honest, it's about $50. But there's a lot of streaming services on that spot. So if you think about the fact that Netflix is half of that, I'm getting 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. I'm getting Apple Music. I'm getting Apple TV Plus, and I'm getting Apple News, Apple Fitness, and Apple Arcade. I'm not using them all, but if someone in my family wants to, there's 5 people, that's a pretty good deal in that regard. And if Apple decided, by the way, your family doesn't live together, this doesn't count, canceled. I guarantee you I'm canceling it. Because the advantage of this is that my dad has complained for years, like he runs out of phone storage, and the iCloud was key for him. So for me buying it for him, even though he lives in a different part of Ontario, is pretty key. It's pretty useful.
I've never met your dad.
Oh, yeah, I guess you haven't, no.
Will I ever meet him, you think?
I hope so. One day. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Anyway, That's my thought process on that. And Amazon Prime is different. I don't do it with Amazon Prime because of the other benefits. The other benefits outweigh themselves.
Prime's
I only
amazing.
pay $120 for that, which is ridiculous. It's so
Dude,
cheap.
it's such a good value. You pay the entire year up front. Dude, I'm using Amazon like crazy, especially now that I'm moving and I had to get a bunch of random moving supplies. I got tape off Amazon. I got other things off Amazon that I can't think of off the top of my head.
How is it so cheap for Amazon Prime though?
I don't know. It's amazing. Dude, Amazon is, I think, by far the best value. Like Amazon Prime is by far the best value, period. Full. Is it 120 now? I thought they raised it to 180. Am I crazy?
I don't know.
I think it's 180. Even at 180, who the fuck cares? $15 a month, dude? Everything.
Yeah, like again, when you calculate it out, it just makes more sense on a value perspective. And Disney's not that bad either. I've kept Disney for some reason. I can't remember why. Oh no, because there's some kind of issue where I guess it's not an issue. It's an issue for them where it's allowing other people who have been using my account traditionally, like you can somehow access it even though you're in a different place.
Yeah.
So it makes it more valuable.
A while.
Yeah. It's strange. Like the password crackdown thing is so weird because it just feels like it's mitigating the fact that people are realizing that they're not watching as much content as they thought they were or something like that. Like I'm never watching anyone streaming service that much. Like if we're talking about like Kenneth Stadabauer, I bet you that guy always has Disney Plus because he's a huge Disney fan, and that makes sense to me. So like he would always have Disney as a staple because he would go back to the various Disney movies or whatever, and he's a big fan. So that makes sense. But for me, I'm always dabbling in all of them. In fact, the one I dabble in the most as well is Apple. I got to be honest. Like I'm watching Silo right now. I'm watching Severance. I'm watching 2 Apple shows simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I find, I don't know, it is interesting. The quality metric again is just not high enough overall in Netflix that I would want it to over the whole time. And when I look through the list that I just compiled here, I'm interested in maybe a quarter of these things in a vague way. And as you mentioned, Black Rabbit, I'm super interested in. I'd love to see what Liam Hemsworth does as opposed to Henry Cavill in The Witcher. That seems interesting, but I might never watch that ever. Wednesday, I'm definitely interested in it. Yeah, for sure. Because the first season.
Did you watch the first season?
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never
watched. We
watched
it together at a Halloween time. It was
Me and you, I was there.
No.
Did I have my eyes closed? Because I don't remember.
Thank you for specifying. I drugged you actually.
Oh my god,
your eyes were closed.
I knew you were a criminal. We talked about you being a criminal. Oh my! Stop doing the eyebrow thing. It's kind of creepy.
No, me and my fiance. We watched it. But yeah, it's a cozy show. It's cozy. It's a little silly drama. It's a little high school silly drama, but it's good. There's good acting musical in it. What's her name? Jenna Ortega is really great. She really is good. Yeah. That meme of her dancing, she is really great. Like that dance is really great. The whole thing, there's a vibe there, and Tim Burton is great. Like Tim Burton just does a solid job making the show. So I'm a fan of it to some extent. It's not my favorite show ever, but it's good. It's worth watching. In Squid Game, I'm definitely going to watch. I think
me too.
I think Rip, I'm into. I think Knives Out, definitely I'm into. I really like Knives Out, Glass Onion, Knives Out, whatever. Glass Onion and Knives Out story or whatever. Electric State, I'm on the fence about. I
don't care about that. Then I'll be honest.
Yeah, with you. Good actors though. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that because of the fact that I'm kind of vaguely interested in some of this stuff and mostly not, I can again cancel, come back. It's kind of good though. I like the idea of being able to cancel it. I like this idea that I'm not sharing. It actually helps me a bit because I rather be more precise with when I subscribe to things. I actually like that idea. And when I'm subscribed, then I can jump in and finish off. For instance, I haven't watched Arcane season 2. I'm canceled now, but as soon as I subscribe again for the next season of whatever I'm going to watch, I'm going to jump in and also watch Arcane season 2, which I'm very excited for. But I don't want to do it right now because I had Netflix for a few months and I didn't cancel it. Now it seems like a good time to cancel because it's just, again, it's becoming too much. Too many different streaming services add up. They're very expensive. But yeah. Anyway, that's my thought process. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But the last thing about this on the topic of the show, I asked you to compile a list, Adrian. I don't know if you did it or not, but I thought it would be kind of a fun exercise, a fun activity if we went back and forth and kind of named off our favorite Netflix things of all time. I don't want to be overly negative. I think Netflix is generally a good entity to have existed. I like that they exist, and it's cool that they make these huge projects and they have the budget to do some crazy stuff. to be fair. I feel like maybe we were overly negative in this segment so far.
Yeah.
They have been very successful. I think my write-up was pretty unbiased. I don't know about you, but I feel like that I gave them a fair shake. It just ended on a note of it's being expensive. But I think, yeah, we've liked a lot of Netflix content over the years. And I think you were really high on Netflix, actually. I think on our previous iteration of the podcast, I think you were saying that you think Netflix is kind of the most valuable service at one point for you at the time, which is cool. You watched some of the reality TV stuff as well, and that type of thing too. So let's name off our favorite things. We'll do top 3 favorite things on Netflix that have aired at any point so far that we've seen that we love. We'll go you, me, if we can. So we'll do back and forth, alternating. You go first.
This was a tough list to compile, Simon. I'll be honest with you. Because
because there's so much. Just we'll throw in like honorable mentions at the end, so you can throw in the remainder of those you're interested in. Okay. It sounds great. So I'm pulling out my list here. So the first one I think is a fairly obvious one. I've talked about this actually a few times since we've rebooted ourselves, and it's Arcane. You know, it's Arcane. It's fantastic. 18 episodes of just peak animation. Again, it's based on League of Legends, which is like a property that I'm not really into, that I really care about. But the League of Legends video game, but they took characters from that video game that I guess is relatively lore heavy and made it into a fully fleshed world that we followed along, and it's great. I love Arcane. I can't recommend it enough. Again, like my fiance watched it with me as well. She really, really, really liked it, despite not having any knowledge of League of Legends or really caring about this sort of stuff. It's just a very well written and acted television series with, again, in my personal opinion, the most beautiful art style in any television series. I would go as far as to say that. That's my number one choice. Going hard, going strong. I don't know if we ever talked about this in regards to Arcane, but I don't know if you realize this, but one of the reasons I actually really like League of Legends playing it, because I probably played 1,000 hours of League of Legends over the course of my life. I haven't played it recently at all. I think within like 8 years I haven't played it once, but before that I did. And one of the interesting things about it is that they always had really awesome cinematic trailers. Did you know about that? Did we talk about that?
So no, but I did watch their most recent cinematic trailer that is essentially an epilogue to Arcane.
Okay, cool.
Like it has one of the characters, and I was like, oh man, like this is amazing. And they came out and said, like, we are not like trying to set up a new TV show with the cinematic, but it feels like they are. And I hope they actually are. I didn't know about the previous stuff.
That's the thing with that game, is that it always felt like they could create a TV show or a movie out of it, and people asked for it. It was like, do you remember the cinematic trailers for the Old Republic Star Wars game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man,
like
the reveal cinematic.
Those reveal cinematics were amazing, but the game never really panned out to be as exciting or amazing as the trailers were. And that's not what League of Legends is, because League of Legends is one of the most popular games in the world. But in general, they always release these character vignette trailers that were always so interesting and awesome. And the animation styles typically varied, actually, between the style from my remembering. And they were really, really intriguing. And so when they announced Arcane, I was like, that's so cool. They actually followed through on this idea of creating a show out of these trailers, basically, in a way, or creating, because they had such good ideas. They were short. They're like 5 minutes typically. But that was always something that really intrigued me. Having been a fan of the game at the time and seeing the characters that I kind of played or liked in these cinematic trailers was really exciting. And so Arcane's really cool because of that too. And Arcane's very expensive to make, which is so weird. So very expensive, and more than they probably would have made on. Probably wouldn't make too much on the show, but they definitely make money on the hype behind it for the game, and that the game makes a lot of money for Riot, the developer, every year. Yeah. So they'll make a lot of money on it. But I think that was a great sentiment that you mentioned on episode 101, I think, in that the one of the creators said, we don't do that. We're not doing this for the money. We're doing it for the art or something like that. It was basically along those lines in a paraphrased way.
Yeah, it was like we don't make Arcane to make money to put into League of Legends. We make League of Legends to make money to put into this like art,
which is like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta be real. I feel like awesome. that's a cool sentiment that I feel like I wish more places, more creators would have. And like a lot of them do, and especially people making indie films like Sean Baker.
Yeah,
I imagine the money is important to him, but it's really, he wants to make a really cool movie from the heart and written really beautifully and all that stuff and shot gorgeously and whatever. But anyway, it's not always the case. It is a business. like Netflix wants to make money. Like that's for sure. But yeah, cool. My first one I'm going to choose here is The Killer. It's director David Fincher's movie. It's a movie about a hitman
killer
played by Michael Fassbender, a killer. Yeah. And it's got music from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, as David Fincher has been tending to do over the last few movies anyway. And I really like it. I thought the style of it was really cool. I thought Michael Fassbender was really great in it. I thought overall it was awesome. I was going to almost pick this as when we did our first episode, when we were talking about our favorite movies of 2024, but I realized that I actually watched it at the end of 2023.
Yeah.
I couldn't actually use The Killer. So here's my use of The Killer. There's a really good relationship, honestly, between Netflix and David Fincher in general. He's done a few movies with them, and he's also done a show, which is really cool as well. And so I guess let's just throw my honorable mention in there. I feel like it's actually my second pick, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's Mindhunter, because of the relationship he has.
You cheater pumpkin.
I know. And Mindhunter, which I don't know if did you ever watch Mindhunter?
No.
So it's a David Fincher created series that kind of feels like Zodiac a little bit. It's just about these people in the FBI in the fledgling moments of when they started to create a profiling element to the FBI, where they started to have FBI profiles who profile serial killers, and these profiles were kind of thought of as a joke in the beginning. They're like put in this like weird basement, and they're like kind of like, you guys suck kind of thing. But then as it grows, the science of trying to read people and understand what the MO is of killers, it's like Criminal Minds if it was good. I'm kidding. Shots fired. No.
Oh my God.
No, it's funny because my fiance really loves Criminal Minds as well. But Mindhunter is a cut above. It really does feel like an HBO quality show. It's shot really well. It's beautiful. It only had 2 seasons. It's a sub above. Yeah. Is that what you said?
Mike's. Yeah.
Is that a Jersey Mike's reference? Are you hungry? It just feels very exacting. Like it feels like it's very specific. Again, it's a detail aspect. I feel like this is the theme of the show, is like the devil is in the details is really the theme. I feel like of this episode of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast, is that everything we've talked about, I feel like
title of the episode,
the devil's in the details.
Yeah. Write that down, put it in your notes so we don't forget what we
I wanted to name it. We have Ex Machina at home, but you really don't agree with that sentiment, so maybe we don't call it.
Well, you can do it. You're the guy that publishes it, so you know what.
If you don't like it, I don't want to make titles that you don't agree with at all. Like we're a team in that we're co-hosting, so I feel like it should relate to both of us. But yeah, the devil is in the details for sure, and I feel like that's what the Mindhunter does so well. It doesn't feel like there's wasted space, but because it's a TV show, he can really flesh out these character relationships between various characters. And I know there's something about road trips, by the way, in various movies and TV shows. And actually, there's a movie we just talked about today that has one of these types of situations where people or a group of people are on a road trip, or they're going on a trip together, and there's like this bonding that happens that you would not expect these types of people to have. You can actually just have that in real life. I feel like that's relatable, just going on a road trip with people you don't know as much. Like you get to know them more because you're in an intimate setting in a tight claustrophobic car. So that does just happen, I think, in real life as well. But I feel like a lot of movies and TV shows that put people into a claustrophobic environment, like a road trip, buddy cop movies do this well, or buddy movies where people are driving along a road or traveling along a road together. Or The Last of Us is a good example, but there's that aspect of certain movies and things like that. I get that in Mindhunter a little bit, and that the characters are kind of stuck together even though they don't necessarily like each other, and they grow to bond together. Anyways, it's a great show.
Like the
But,
hit 2000s movie Euro Trip.
Yeah, sure. I guess I have never seen that, but yeah.
I guarantee you, it is not similar to Mindhunter. I would bet money on it.
Mindhunter isn't really that all the way. I think The Last of Us is a better example, and another movie we talked about earlier that I don't want to spoil. But I think there's elements there that are cool. But anyway, Mindhunter is really good. I recommend it to anyone. The problem is that David Fincher isn't making another season, either because Netflix doesn't want him to because it didn't make enough money for them, or something like that. But I love it so much. It's so sad that they ended it after the second season. So it's hard for me to recommend that to anyone because
was it like a cliffhanger?
Typically don't recommend it. Kind of, yeah, because they alluded to something that throughout 2 seasons they didn't end anything really. I think they anticipated coming back for season 3.
Lame.
So it is kind of disappointing in that regard. We just thought it was coming back, but apparently no. So anyway, your second pick.
My second pick, Simon, is going to be another TV show. However, there's only been 1 season, and I watched it last year, I think. Maybe 2023. It's Blue Eye Samurai.
Oh, yeah. It's an animated show, right?
It is an animated show. I think 8 episodes. The second season is coming out maybe this year, if not next. I'm so
curious what your third pick is now. Oh, man, this is so awesome. I'm curious.
So, yeah, it's a really great show. You know, obviously, again, animated series follows a samurai during, kind of the inception of when, like, English people went into Japan during, the time where Japan was very closed off from the outside world, and kind of this like evil English people coming into Japan and setting up trade deals with, Japanese royalists. I guess royal isn't the right word, but like,
it's somewhat the plot of Shogun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, like, I guess, it's like Shogun, somewhat, but animated. But yeah, it's
I don't know about that, but what you just described, there's elements in Shogun like that.
But we're following, one character specifically, and they, they're kind of picking between like, who they are and what they are. And yeah, it just really tackles on a lot of interesting, plot elements with this character. Again, I'm trying to be as vague because like I suggest going in blind. There's a lot of reveals by the end of the first episode, but at the same time, it was cool to kind of jump into the show and like figure it out by the end of the first episode. And
cool.
So I really recommend. Really great, very well written. Can't wait for the second season. Great actors apart from it. Kenneth Branagh's in it. Like he voices one of the main characters. Nice. So really good stuff.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Ready?
What's number 2
for mine?
Yeah, please.
My number 2 is Uncut Gems. Oh, what a gem.
Yeah.
Was that on your list?
Yeah, that was going to be my number 3, funnily enough. But I'll change
just
it.
Like,
I
just relieved you, I guess. You've been relieved. It's a weird way to say that. Anyway. Uncut Gems. What?
Huh?
I don't know what you said. Regardless of that, Uncut Gems. Maybe the most stressed I've ever watched a movie in terms of the tension in that film. Adam Sandler is so good. The Safdie brothers, like, it's such a great movie directed by them. It's so fantastic. It's so stressful. And I think from my perspective, from what I've seen Adam Sandler do, it's my favorite role he's been in personally. Mm-hmm. I think he's great. I feel like he is that character in that movie, and I feel like it was a shame that he wasn't nominated for an Oscar because I think he really deserved it, and I feel like he was snubbed that year personally. Mm-hmm. I that movie's great. It's so good, and we didn't see it on Netflix. We watched it together at the Princess Twin Theaters.
We did, yeah,
and that was a great experience. It was better in a theater, I feel like, than I would have got at home. Probably there was, again, the tension was palpable. I felt so nervous for freaking Adam Sandler's character the whole time. Man, great movie. That's my number 2 there.
Nice, man. That's a good choice. Okay, so my third and final pick, Simon.
I think I know what the answer is. And wait, your number 3 was Uncut Gems?
Yeah, that was going to be my third pick.
Okay. If you don't pick the movie, the thing I'm thinking of, then I'll be very surprised. Go on.
I'm actually, I don't know. I'm curious what you think. I don't think you know what I'm going to pick. Because it is The Ultimatum, Queer Love. What a great show. I can't wait. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to waste it on that. It's actually Hubie Halloween starring Adam Sandler. I'm joking. However, I do like both of those. I know. I'm going to be legit. I do like both of those. Yeah. But yeah, the third and final thing is a movie. It is Marriage Story.
You're wrong. But sure. You're wrong.
I'm wrong? What did you think I was going to pick? Please.
You're wrong. And when I tell you what it is, you're going to say that it's the thing I'm going to say. Are you ready?
Yeah.
BoJack Horseman.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, you're 100% right. I'm an idiot. I'm a dumb bitch. I'm a stupid fucking
you're not.
ape.
Don't go. No, don't be so hard on yourself.
I'm so dumb, dude.
Marriage Story is great, though. Marriage Story is great. I almost had it on my list, too. But Marriage Story is excellent. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm a dumb fucking ingrate.
You picked freaking Blue Eye Samurai? And I was like, wait.
It is really good. I do really, really love Blue Eye Samurai. But
you
BoJack
like Blue
Horseman
Eye
is one of the
Samurai
great.
better than Edge Runners?
Ooh, maybe. They're very close.
About Edge Runners.
I did. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Fuck you, you fucking.
So yeah, but tell me about BoJack.
Yeah, no, BoJack Horseman is genuinely, like, if not my favorite show of all time, very close to it. It's masterfully done. Will Arnett is phenomenal. Alison Brie is phenomenal. Tugs on the heartstrings. It's a show that makes me laugh. It makes me cry. Aaron Paul from Westworld season 3 fame.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. Of course. From the season of Westworld that nobody seemed to watch.
I've seen it.
I didn't.
I didn't see season 4 though. That one. I
don't think anyone did because they canceled it after that one.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah. Wow. I'm an idiot. I'm a fool. I'm a stupid butt. I'm not even tiny butt man. I'm stupid tiny butt man. I got to change it. Let's end the call so I can change my name here. But yeah, no, you're right.
Tiny butt man says the devil's in the details.
That's a good one.
Is that the episode title?
It's long.
Are we geniuses?
Yeah, dude. It is. But no, you're right. Anyway. Yeah, BoJack Horseman is up there. Again, I don't know why I didn't think of that. I think there's just so many. You get analysis paralysis. There's so many options you forget about everything.
I had to go through lists to find these options. I forgot about them. When I started going through them, this is why actually it's funny. I gave Netflix a lot of slack in the beginning of this, and then now we're giving them a lot of praise. There's so many movies I could have, or TV shows I could have picked.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. They have a lot. My problem is this diluted content, and I don't think the price makes sense if you look at Apple TV Plus's more specific content. But Apple TV Plus is like a youngling, a little baby. It's not very old, and they don't have that much content in comparison. Like Disney Plus started reasonably recently too, but they obviously had so much legacy content to put on their service. It's not the same thing. So Netflix is tricky because they just have stuff that I just have no interest in. I'm sure I'm paying for. That's like kind of what I felt like with Game Pass. Like Game Pass added Call of Duty, and then it went up $3. It's like, but I don't care about Call of Duty, so this is not making it more enticing for Simon. Yeah. It's you're diluting it with good stuff because Call of Duty is a great game, but for a lot of people, but for me, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like more focused stream. Whoa, I almost choked on my own words.
Air.
More specific focused streaming services are more up my alley specifically. I find that they are more valuable. Anyway, my third. No, did I do 3? No, I didn't.
Well, you technically did. You cheated. You cheated a great deal.
Those were the 2 I was going to do, but I felt like it was weird to just name David Fincher movies. I do like David Fincher a lot, or David Fincher.
Well, now all 3 of my choices were technically animated things, animated TV shows. So it's
weirdly. That's why I thought it was weird. That's why I thought it was strange that you didn't choose BoJack yet, because I'm like, wait, you're choosing only 3 animated movies? Is that for sure?
Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Let's make it 4, baby.
Marriage Story would have been
animated series. The hit animated series Marriage Story as well. But it's animated using real life actors shot on camera, and it's incredible. A movie, not a TV show.
That movie's great. Noah Baumbach,
it's beautiful. Yeah,
like Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver. That movie's very heart wrenching, very sad.
I never want to get a divorce.
Yeah.
Because of that.
I'll say.
Before that movie, I was ready to get divorced.
You were high on the concept.
Dude, I was stoked. I was like, I can't wait to get divorced.
Married, so I can get divorced.
Yeah, that's what I was looking forward to. But now I'm like, I don't want to get divorced, actually. Doesn't sound like a good time. Fair.
Well, they taught you a lesson. Thank you, Noah Baumbach. Good man.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't Greta Gerwig also the writer, or am I wrong?
No, I think they did.
I'm just thinking about it for right. Barbie. They're married.
Didn't they do White Noise together after, though? Like, wasn't that a thing? They did White Noise together? You might be right.
No, it's just Noah Baumbach for both. He wrote it and directed it.
For White Noise, was that the one that they teamed up for?
Let's see. Noah Baumbach, White Noise, written for the screen by White Noise. My internet is loading slowly. Noah Baumbach? No, they did not team up for that. But Greta Gerwig was in it. She starred in it alongside Adam Driver and Don Cheadle.
Okay.
Did you watch White Noise?
No.
Also a Netflix property.
No.
I haven't seen it either.
Okay. One day.
My last one that I'm going to choose here today is a movie that I think is also oozing with style, as I used to describe, I believe, Companion. And the movie is
Red Notice.
No. No. Did you see Red Notice? I didn't even watch it.
No, I didn't watch it.
No. The movie is a James Samuel directed movie called The Harder They Fall.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that movie.
I love it so much. The music in that film is so good. The cast is crazy.
Unfortunately, one of them is literally crazy, but yeah.
One of them was convicted of a crime. But regardless of that, Jonathan Majors was good in it, though. He acted well. But regardless of that, Zazie Beetz is in it, Regina King, Idris Elba, Lakeith Stanfield. So good. Man, such a good, just generally, just great. It's just again, oozing with style. It's a Western film. And it's just the music. They use like James Samuel uses contemporary music in it, and it just fits so well. It specifically fits so well. The action sequences are great as well. I really enjoyed it.
That was a fun movie. I forgot about that. That's a good movie. That's a good choice, Simon. That's a good choice, Simon Eady.
That's one though. I gotta be real. I bet you if that movie had come out to a theater, that would have like really hit even harder. I don't know if it would have sold as much as it would have, but if I imagine watching that in a theater, the sound was so good.
Yeah.
That
was 2022, right?
I believe so. Like I have a pretty solid, pretty good sound system, and I feel like I really got the benefit, but I wonder like the problem with Netflix really, and it's like this Martin Scorsese situation that he talks about. Like, I don't know, although it doesn't really matter because he's literally put all his movies. He's putting his movies on Netflix now and streaming services like Apple TV Plus.
2021 is when it came out, yeah.
But it's tricky because these movies are on a streaming service and people are watching it on their phone. Like imagine watching The Harder They Fall on your phone. Like,
this was during the height of COVID because I'm thinking because like it came out in 2021. Like I feel like this would have been a good theater movie, but theaters were essentially shut down still.
Yeah. So. But Netflix doesn't like putting things in theaters. Like just generally, they put them in theaters for a week sometimes because of an agreement they made with the actors. Like they're putting the Chronicles of Narnia movie by Greta Gerwig. Speaking of Greta Gerwig,
yeah,
like they're doing an IMAX release for that, which I think is like, have they ever even done an IMAX release connected with a Netflix movie before? I don't remember one. They've done releases for movies though in theaters, of course. Like they did. The Irishman was in theaters, like a very select number of theaters briefly. A movie we saw Uncut Gems. We talked about that. We also saw The Gray Man. Which I enjoyed.
With Feet Rubber McGee.
I don't think we've ever told that story, actually.
We must have. The guy.
That was unbelievable.
It was an empty theater. Empty theater. There was us two, I think one guy sitting in the back, maybe two guys sitting in the back, and then one other guy sitting in like the row ahead of us. And this dude sitting in the row ahead of us, like 10 minutes into the movie, takes off his shoes, takes off his socks, and then starts rubbing his dry feet together. So you literally hear...
I don't know if I can hear that on the mic.
I don't know if that's coming through.
The noise.
But I'm rubbing my hands together. But it was loud. It was loud. It was like, and I'm like, what is it? And I remember so vividly looking over to you and you looking at me being like with the most bewildered look. Like, what? Is this happening? Dude, that was so fucked. Move? I was like, this is so fucked. I wanted to whack this guy on the back of the head. Anyway,
it's so insane. I feel like you could just, I don't know if we could see it, but I feel like I was at least imagining the dry skin just being rubbed off his feet.
I saw it. It was snowflakes falling on a beautiful Christmas morning. That's what it looked like.
So disgusting.
It's gross,
oh my
dude.
God.
It's fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. That movie was okay though.
It was fun.
Maybe it ruined it for me a little bit. It was not as good as it could have been. They had two pretty solid actors in Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. I feel like it wasn't maybe as fantastic as I was hoping. But cool, man. Well, that's it.
Right on.
That's it. Now we're gonna move on to a segment of our show that I like to call "A Look to the Future."
Wow.
A portion of our podcast where each of us presents our picks for the TV series or movies that look most interesting to us, that are releasing between February 11th, 2025 and February 24th, 2025. What's going on with your eye? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I do have to go to the bathroom again, though. I apologize.
Oh, darn.
Right. I wanted to wait for your write-up.
Scram.
I'm sorry. I drank that coffee.
Scram.
I held it in for the first 2 hours. And then I had a really long pee, and then I feel like all the coffee was stored up in my balls where liquids are stored.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Get out of here, tiny butt man.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, good.
I'm so sorry. There's piss everywhere. There's just piss all everywhere. I don't know what happened.
Jesus Christ.
I'm covered in it. I'm so scared, man.
And we're back. I'm so scared. Oh my goodness. All righty. Adrian. I love how you let me read the write-up so that we disjointedly, you went to the bathroom and then come back and say you pissed everywhere. There'll be I'll read the write-up. I'll include the fact that you just said I pissed everywhere, and now we're going to look to the future and pick 3 movies.
Well, I thought the issue last time was I said that I had to pee before you read the write-up.
No, that was fine.
Oh, sorry, I misread the situation. I apologize.
We want to go before the segment. It's better. Anyway,
okay.
we're in it now, so it's already too late. Let's talk about what we're excited for this week, the week of February 11th to the 24th. Adrian, I'll let you go first again. Tell me what you are excited for in the next 2 weeks.
You know what I'm excited for, Simon. You know what I'm excited for.
What?
There's a little bear, and he's hanging out in a country called Peru. It's Paddington in Peru, releasing on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Cannot wait for this flick. Stoked. I'm moving into my new house, like officially probably going to have the first sleepover on that day. Maybe do a little Paddington action leading up to it. Maybe on that day. Paddington in Peru, baby, February 14th. I love it. It's great. I know it's going to be good. I'm going to love this little bear. He's going to get up to antics, crazy bear antics.
Think.
It's the wrong bear. It's the wrong bear, dude.
Oh, no.
Okay. It's not the Berenstein bear, you silly. It's Paddington.
Right, yeah. Okay. Well, at least you got it was a bear.
Yeah.
See, you like that impression, or at least you're getting it a little bit. You're like, it's not Jerry Seinfeld for you, I guess. So that's a good news story.
Yeah.
Me, you know, I know you don't like my Jerry Seinfeld impression.
Simon, I'll be honest with you. I don't. Yeah, you're right.
Oh no, take a. Oh, Piglet.
That's a really bad Jerry Seinfeld impression that you're doing right now. I'm telling you. It's
you're
crazy.
Going to bait me into the Jerry Seinfeld impression. You're going to regret it. So let's not go there. But Adrian,
you're going to hate it.
I'm excited for Paddington in Peru as well, coming out on February 14th. I am also excited for, coming out the same day, Captain America, Brave New World, previously called Captain America, New World Order. starring Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie. Very exciting. I'm
Other
excited.
actors.
I saw a clip. Other actors, yeah. I think there's going to be some surprises. My question is, who's the villain? Who's the true villain in this story?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Right, we've seen Giancarlo Esposito, but is it not Red Hulk based on the trailers? And how can Captain America fight Red Hulk, especially because he doesn't have the super serum theoretically, right? Because he's Falcon.
He is a bird, yeah.
Falcon's not supercharged. That's been my question for this series.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, are they going to do anything? Are they going to? You think they're going to drug him?
He was committed to not being drugged. He didn't want steroids. So I don't know. There's an interesting thing about that. There's an interesting thing. It's like, is it just for principle of it in the storyline? Because I don't like it for the principle. I kind of want him to be powerful because it's more interesting for me. I like Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I think that's a cool change. It's interesting. I just think that he's not strong. And if they show him to be strong, I find the power dynamics in the MCU has been all messed up. Like literally been messed up. That's been the issue in the actual last few movies. I don't understand what the Marvels could do. I don't know what they all can do. I don't get it. And I need to, the one person who defined it actually really well. And actually, I think the Russo brothers did a good job too, but the Avengers movies did a good job of defining the power metrics. Joss Whedon was the first one to do that. He made the Avengers fight each other on purpose. So I think so that he could determine who is more powerful than other people. And that's always a question everyone asks. Like, who would win in a fight? Iron Man or the Hulk? Well, that's an obvious one. Or like Thor or the Hulk or wherever it may be. And that's an interesting concept that people always ask. And so I feel like they're not paying attention to that at all anymore. Like that doesn't matter. And it does matter because again, the universe is rules and it's the way it's built is important to kind of setting the tone for the rest of the story.
Yeah.
In relation to the companion, devil's on the details type situation, companion, they don't, for me, make it clear how the science works. How does AI work? How do the bots actually work? They dabble in it so briefly that they do it for comedy.
Yeah.
Right. He built it.
It all works because Tony Stark.
Because of Jarvis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway. Yeah. So that's the question. I'm curious about that, but we'll see how it goes. And I hope that it sets the tone. And it, as I said before, it sets lights a spark, like a flint. It sets a spark that lights the MCU aflame so that we can start seeing like things like Fantastic Four really lift off and just build up massive amounts of hype that they can just carry the momentum into Avengers. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. What's your second movie?
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
What's your second movie or TV show?
My second movie, Simon.
Your second choice.
Is going to be The Monkey, coming out on February 21st. That's by Osgood Perkins, written and directed by him.
Stephen King?
Yeah, it's written from a short story of Stevens. We're on a first name basis. Right. Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, the trailer doesn't really show too much of like what the plot is. It just looks like that it's bloody and gory. This monkey makes violence happen. I'm in it. I really like Longlegs. I like Longlegs. This seems way more funny and like kind of like a dark comedy than Longlegs was.
In a way,
Longlegs was not funny.
It didn't look.
There's
funny
like one scene that's kind of funny. And it's just because Nicolas Cage is just off his rocker, and it's like not really like haha funny. It's like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Like this is funny. So I'm very curious what he's gonna do with this. I'm stoked. I'm gonna watch it. There's so many movies, dude. I gotta catch up on like 17 things that came out. Apparently, Love Hurts. Not that good. Yeah, poorly rated.
That sucks. It's too bad.
Yeah, trailer shows everything.
All right,
like beat for beat. That trailer literally shows the final movie. They literally have a line at the end of the trailer that's like, hey, this is a line from the end of the movie. It's not the line, but it's essentially from the end of the movie. And they show it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. My second choice, my friend, is a little... this is an interesting one. I don't know if I'll watch it, but I'm intrigued by it. February 14th. It's another February 14th movie. It's a movie on Apple TV Plus. It's called The Gorge.
Yeah. That looks
Yeah.
fun. That looks up my alley. The Gorg.
The Gorgie.
The Gorg.
The Gorgie, as they say. No
Yeah,
one says.
that movie looks
Except for the
fun
guy
because there's
in front of
monsters
me,
in it.
really.
Dude, your fiance is gonna want to watch that. Just show her the trailer. She's gonna watch that. She's gonna
Yeah,
want
we
to
might watch it. Honestly, we might actually just watch it on Valentine's Day. The interesting thing,
Am I invited?
actually, unless you want to go see Captain America, but I think you're going to be busy with the move, so we'll
I will be
postpone
busy.
that.
I will be busy those days, unfortunately.
Yeah. No worries. It's a weird day to launch that, though. It's like you're launching alongside two really pretty big movies, one for a family and the other one kind of for a family, like an action movie that people are probably anticipating in Captain America, and then Paddington in Peru. It's kind of a kind of strange, but Valentine's Day is a popular day for movies, I suppose. So it's a good day to launch. Interestingly, The Gorge is a movie directed by Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, Black Phone, Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange.
Wait, isn't there another Black
Sinister?
Phone movie coming out this year? There is, isn't there? Black Phone 2. How does that work exactly? We're not going to spoil Black Phone, so we got to be careful about that. But it's like, based on where it ended, I don't understand.
There's more people in the phone. There's other people that are phoning people.
Yeah, there's a second phone, maybe.
Yeah.
Black Phone 2, second phone. I don't know.
It's the Black Phone, the second phone.
Would you want to go see Black Phone 2?
If it's good,
Reviewed well. Yeah, it's reviewed well. Because the first one was pretty good.
I don't give a shit. I'll watch it regardless. Who cares? Even if it's bad.
Honestly, Ethan Hawke was very good.
Ethan Hawke's always very good.
That's also true. He is always very good. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, what was I looking up? Oh, The Gorge. Sorry, it's Anya Taylor-Joy and what's his name, Miles Teller. And they're basically they're looking over they're competing snipers, I guess, over this giant gorge that apparently houses evil. And they presumably fall in love. That's kind of what they're showing. They fall in love. It's literally a long distance relationship.
Yeah,
right. It's literally a long distance relationship, is what it is.
Yeah,
they're communicating over the gorge, and then
the Gorg.
The cool thing is, actually, to be fair, I haven't seen enough trailers, but the trailer I saw doesn't give away the movie. Did you notice that? Like, what's happening down there? We don't know. I love that.
There's monsters, no?
Yeah, but we don't know what it is. There's monsters, but what does that mean? That could be anything. Imagine it's not monsters; it's actually heaven. That's the opposite situation than we expect. But we don't see really much. We don't know what happens. Like in the trailer, one of them dives down. I think it was Miles Teller's character, and then Anya Taylor-Joy jumps after him.
Yeah, she's like,
"Oh,
I love you, Miles Teller."
I completely forgot. We didn't even mention this as like an honorary mention, but Queen's Gambit is excellent.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's a great show.
Yeah,
that's a great show. That's a top tier show.
Yeah, very good. There's so many movies. There's so many that I was going through that I just chose a few. I thought you would have more honorary mentions because.
Want more honor? You didn't even
the guy didn't even pick BoJack. I did. I gave you an option. You didn't want to. You just. I pause. I wait, and you're like, I gotta go pee. I'm gonna pee my pants, and then I let you leave.
Dude, you're lucky. You're lucky I left because you wouldn't have wanted to see that site. There was piss everywhere, like I said.
I'm drenched. You have peed on the
drenched
webcam?
right now. It would have broken everything.
I'm looking right at you. You're not drenched.
Zencastr would. I'm using a filter on my webcam, Simon.
I knew you were gonna say that. I'm using an AI filter. It's the dry filter. It's the unwet filter.
Yeah,
right.
It's the opposite.
Okay, cool. What's your next movie? What's your next TV show? What are you excited for coming up? What are you excited for?
I'll be honest. This one I'm not like super excited for. This is one like it's not one of my favorite things, but I've watched the last couple seasons of it and it's been pretty good. But Love is Blind. Season 8 is coming back on February 14th on Netflix. Another reality show to watch. I watched the last 2 seasons of Love is Blind because like a bunch of our mutual friends watch it as well. Cassandra likes watching it. My fiance. And we, it's people sit in pods and they pretend that they fall in love and then they leave the pods and then they got to live together. They go on a vacation and they then they're like, oh, we're fake. We're married now. There's no other option. You have to get engaged to leave the pods with someone. And then you got to lead up to the wedding, and if you don't get married, you have to break up. There's nothing in between. So
Right. Of course.
it's not good. I'll be honest, it's not good. But there is some like quality drama. The pods portion, the worst part. Everyone's so they're like sitting. I love you, person on the other side of this wall that I haven't seen that we just spoke for 4 minutes.
Of course.
I love you so much. It's stupid. It's bad. It's enjoyable though.
Okay. That's what you picked?
Yeah.
You didn't pick
What
Invincible?
What else is there?
Invincible.
Never even heard of it. I'm just kidding. No. I understand. I guess I can pick things that aren't fully done, but I feel like that's almost cop-out.
Yeah.
It's almost a cop-out.
But that one's cool to do because we didn't list it last week, so it's kind of
we already
like building
talked about
awareness.
it.
Yeah, we did. If anyone listened to the first 3.5 hours of this podcast.
Yeah,
but anyway.
People typically only listen to the last 15 minutes of our podcast. So that is true.
Of course they do.
Yeah,
that's how I listen to podcasts. Isn't it how you listen to them? Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last thing I'm going to mention, then I won't mention Invincible because I have it written. I have like backups here that the backups are essentially shows that are continuing just in case I don't have anything interesting to say because you picked my picks, but you largely didn't pick my picks except for Paddington and Peru.
Love is Blind.
Yeah, of course that was on there. Yeah. So, oh no, my pick was chosen. So the last pick I'm going to go with is going to be more of an off the wall pick, maybe one you haven't heard of before, but you should have heard of it because I just talked about it briefly. But Netflix's Zero Day with Robert De Niro.
Whoa.
You know,
I haven't heard of it.
This is I think it's a limited series, but it's definitely a TV series, which is interesting because Robert De Niro has never done a TV series, really.
Sure.
Which is cool.
So this 0 Day thing is separate from the trailer that we watched before Companion, where Robert De Niro is 2 people.
That's not 0 Day. That's something else. That's got a fancy name. That's got a real fancy name, but that's a movie.
Robert De Niro's 2 people.
So really, it's nothing related to what I'm talking about. Robert De
Squared.
Niro is in lots of things. Robert De Niro, actually, Harrison Ford is in lots of things that are very varied right now. But Robert De Niro is in lots of things just in general, which is awesome. It's awesome to see because he's just
he's in his car sometimes.
I'm looking at what he's upcoming in. He's upcoming in like 7 things. What the heck? The thing you're talking about where he plays 2 different people, Vito Genovese and Frank Costello, is called The Alto Knights. It's like a mob drama. So that's cool too, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because I don't even think that's coming. Does that have a date? I thought the date on that was not even listed. Regardless of that, 0 Day, he plays an ex-president who's called in when there's a huge hack. It's 0 Day, basically. It's a huge hack that causes many different deaths across the United States. And so it's like a terrorist attack. And so he's called in to like remedy the situation. And I think the log line was something along the lines of, who is the real enemy here? The terrorists or their own government or something like that? Because they start to take liberties to try and stop another attack from happening. But it's like how 9/11, like not Cambridge,
never forget.
But there was the PRISM, like how they started monitoring like American people to try and avoid another terrorist attack, kind of thing. They kind of took liberties because of a huge attack, just to avoid, really to stop it. But there's obviously privacy implications and problems there. That's what they seem to be asking, is that obviously the terrorists who attacked at 0 Day are terrible human beings. It's not the question. It's a question of the aftermath at that point, trying to stop it. Who are we most worried about as a society? Are we most worried about another attack, or are we most worried about the actual stopping of said attack? Mm-hmm. So that's what it is. Robert De Niro looks pretty intense in it. It's on Netflix. It looks like it's pretty cool. It's launching on... Oh, man, I didn't write the date. What kind of amateur? I put it up here in the notes here. It is launching on 0 Day. It is launching on February 20th.
Nice. I don't know if I said release dates. Did I say release dates for everything?
I don't...
February 14th, Paddington in Peru. February 14th, Love is Blind. February 21st, Monkey movie.
Cool. Yeah, I
Planet of the Apes.
I said about Paddington because I also picked it, so I mentioned it, but I don't have Love is Blind 15 or whatever.
It's 8
seasons on now.
I think
Adrian, this ends our regular scheduled programming for this episode. We're gonna have again the longest episode we've ever launched. Are we ever gonna stop? Is it always gonna increase in size, these episodes?
I don't know. Yeah, I had a great time with you, Simon. I enjoy spending time with you. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy sharing our thoughts and feelings about movies and television and other things of that nature together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I love our
Yeah.
companionship.
Oh.
Like the movie we watched, Companion, that you didn't like that much, but I enjoyed quite a bit.
I feel like this episode 103, is just full of potential episode titles that we're just like, we're kind of spitballing. We're just workshopping episode titles the whole time. I love our companionship. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Tiny butt man. All right. Fine.
What did you call me? What did you call me? I can say that.
Nothing you wouldn't call yourself. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you allowed to say any word that someone would call themselves? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I wouldn't call you. What did you call yourself? A fucking idiot or something like that? Because you said it about BoJack Horseman. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not, Adrian. You're okay.
I'm a silly goose, dude.
You
can call me a silly goose.
You're a silly humanoid goose. Is what
That's
you are.
fucked up. Actually, what you just called me is actually unbelievable, and we have to.
No, I'm making a BoJack Horseman reference. You're not even getting the BoJack Horseman references. Maybe you should go watch BoJack Horseman after this.
Bagel.
At literally 2 a.m. This is crazy. I didn't realize. Did you notice this 1:52 a.m. in Canada and Ontario here?
No, I'm living on different time zone typically.
Okay, we should
I live in this time zone, but I just look at different times zones depending on the day.
You just live by. You live by Pacific.
Yeah,
Pacific. What is it? Pacific Ocean time. What is it? PST.
Yeah.
PTSD.
Post-traumatic Down syndrome.
What? Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Down syndrome, this is a quick aside, but nothing to do with Down syndrome.
What?
There's I guess an honorable mention of a movie coming out. You see the trailer for The Unbreakable Boy, which comes out February 21st. It's starring Zachary Levi, and he's the dad to this kid that has autism. And it's actually one of the kids that was in the John Mulaney Sack Lunch Bunch special, which is really good. But they're like, and it's like, I'm Zachary Levi, and I'm the dad to this kid with autism. And he's like, I'm going to cure my son's autism. He doesn't actually say that, but it feels like the movie's about this dad that overcomes his son's autisms and makes him less autistic. I don't think that's how autism works. I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
What the trailer shows?
That's how it feels like. I don't know. You can watch it.
There is something about this, though. I feel like, I don't want to get political here, but I think Zachary Levi believes in like vaccines giving kids autism. So there is some like, I'm curious, like that's interesting that he's in this because I think there's some vaccine situation with Zachary Levi. So him being in an autism movie. Okay. Yeah. Are you shifting your eyes? What is it? What's wrong?
Nothing.
We gotta wrap this up, Adrian.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say before we go? You have anything else to say?
I'm done. No? I've said everything I had to say. I'm gonna never say anything again for the rest of the episode. Starting. Oh, I'm gonna not say anything for the rest of the episode. Starting in 3, 2. I'm done saying stuff right now. 1.
You're a liar, though. You're gonna say something when I close right now. Yeah, you are. I'm gonna end it right now. And it's part of my sign off. It's the lingo I use in the sign off. I've used since the first episode of Split Focus. I don't know if I maybe should change it, but anyway, you're gonna say something, and you're kind of saying something right now. You're saying that's a word. That's a thing. That's you saying something. You're a weirdo. Thank you for listening, folks, to episode 103 of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. My name is Simon Eady, and this is Adrian Pinter. Signing off.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.